Talkshoe. Recorded live.
Tonight on this special Friday the 13th, 2017 in July, we're going to have part 2 of Dreams with Shannon and special guest Michael Bell. This is the natural order of everything. Good evening, everybody. How you doing tonight, Shannon?
Man, I'm doing lovely, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here fighting off mosquitoes and shit, but I'm good, bro.
Man, I'm really good to have you back with us. We know last week we ran into you couldn't be with us, but you know what? We did our best to keep it going without you.
That shit was popping off, man. Y'all did a hell of a good job, man. I learned a lot of shit from listening to y'all last week, man. Trust me.
I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. Well, it's part 2. I really wanted to do a part 2 this evening because I wanted your perspective on a lot of this stuff, man. You and I have talked a lot about dreams and stuff, and you've actually given me some really good advice over the years on dream work and dreaming and stuff. But before we get into that, today's Friday the 13th, man.
That's right.
I'm not a real superstitious cat, you know what I'm saying? But It's Friday the 13th. I've always known, in the back of my head, everybody says you got to wear some black, and I did a little bit of research on my own, and man, I found out the history behind it. Now, there could be several different histories, but this one that I found was quite interesting, and we're going to jump into that here really quick. It would seem that Friday the 13th dates back all the way to the 13th century. Okay. In the French Knights, the Knights Templar had their main headquarters in France at this point in the 13th century. Aside from them being warrior monks, they were very effective bankers. You know what I'm saying? They were really, really, really good with money. They kind of started off as just like monks praying who would fight for, for the king, and then end up being like damn near celebrities, just having money and just being able to do all kinds of shit,
Right.
They were such good bankers, bro. They were like the first creators of the check. You know what I mean? They actually created the check. It's pretty cool, and they revolutionized the medieval world of finance. The Knights Templar. Yeah, the Knights Templar, man. So they were successful bankers, and they was real successful with finance. And they were able to operate independently from the king and the Catholic Church. So they had so much money, the government at that time couldn't even touch them. You know what I'm saying? Because they had the lawyers, they had the judges, they had, when you got the money at that time, you know what I'm saying? If you were thriving more than the kingdom was, you was really your own empire,
Right.
Well, in the beginning of the 13th century, King Philip the Fair, he saw the secret society as something beyond his control and as a direct threat to his power. Because, you know what I'm saying, if you're a king and you're seeing this, that's not something that you want people seeing. Other people being able to overthrow your word based on their money. So King Philip he wasn't thriving as good on money either. You know what I'm saying? He needed money for war. He needed money for battle, so he decided that he was going to shit all over the Knights Templar because he was the king. He still had tons of power, and he would have been the only motherfucker that could have done that. So knowing the Templars were rich, he did. So on Friday the 13th, 1307 of October, the king's men arrested the Grand Master. His name was, I'm going to chop this up, but I'm going to do the best I can. I think it was Jacques de Molay. And his
we're going to go with that.
Yeah, we're going to go with that. Jacques de Molay. We're just going to ride with that one. And his closest operatives, man. So he arrested him and all his people. You know what I'm saying? The people who were shot callers pretty much in the Knights Templar. And the king accused them of heresy and spitting on the cross during their one of their rituals, which they did to become a Knights Templar. But it was part of their ritual. But if you spit against the cross at that point, they looked at it at that time like, you know what I'm saying, you was against God. He accused them of being gay. He accused them of doing a lot of homo-active things, which was outlawed in the medieval ages. And he accused them of worshiping Satan and worshiping Baphomet. So on Yeah, man, it's a lot of history with that, you know. So on this day, on Friday the 13th, the Knights were thrown into dungeons and were on trial for the Order of the Templars began. The trial lasted 7 years, and the Knights confessed after being tortured and starved nearly to death for 7 years. You know what I'm saying? The rituals and everything, and in 1314, the Templars came to the end, and soon after, the Grand Master Jacques de Molay was drugged and buried at the stakes. He was burned. I'm sorry, not buried. He was burned at the stakes, and he was the head honcho of the Knights Templar at that time.
That a bitch.
Yeah, bro. He took the L for everybody and shit. Right. While he was burning at the stakes, man, Jacques de Molay called upon King Philip and the Pope. I think his name was Clemens V, calling for a fair trial before God. His last words were, "Not a year will pass before you will join me in death." Within 1 year, they both were dead. This is called the Jacques de Molay, the curse of the Jacques de Molay. Okay, this is something you can look up to this day. This is actually something that they documented, you know. You know, it was such a shitty thing because everybody at that time knew that the Templars were innocent, but they couldn't go against the king. And they knew what the king was up to. So many innocent people died during this time. So many people saw how this king went mad and ended up killing all these Templars, and he ended up dying. Everybody kind of dubbed Friday the 13th as, oh, that's a bad luck day. So much bad shit just happened on that day, you know. So that's where the history of Friday the 13th comes from where my little bit of research that I got today. Now, it doesn't say shit about wearing black. It don't say shit about nothing as far as, you know. But this was outstanding because a lot of people know I'm a Freemason, and the Knights Templar happens to be an appendage of the Masonic body. So for me to see that huge connection, that makes a lot of sense in a lot of the things we do in Masonry. It actually opened me up to see some things that I may not have been shown just quite yet, you know, as a Mason. But, man, that's really big for me, you know. And it's Friday the 13th. You and me have a knack for getting on these days that are, you know, real cool holidays like Cinco de Mayo, Friday the 13th. It's kind of written in the stars for us. What wouldn't you say?
Right. And this shit came by accident. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Spontaneous type of shit. So I think we should keep that going, man, because of the energy we're working with. You know what I'm saying? You said something about, you know what I'm saying, wearing black on Friday the 13th. I'm in my backyard eating blackberries and shit. So that's why you hear me a little crunching on blackberries and shit. But man, it's a lot of hell of an energy going on around here, man. A lot of upgrades, you know what I'm saying, making on our mindset and our thinking, you know what I'm saying, getting results based on the wild ass ideas we coming up with. And I don't know, man, it's some weird shit going on, you know what I'm saying, dealing with the heat, you know what I'm saying, Sirius rising and all the heat and shit like that, man. Got people acting weird and the dreams, having the lucid dreams and shit like that, not knowing if you awake or, you know what I'm saying, walking around in your dreams or whatever. So that's a lot of shit like that we're going to be discussing tonight, man. I know most people can relate to it if they dealing with anything dealing with the occult. So, man, it's some wild shit going on right now, man.
There's definitely been a lot of waves and energy I noticed here very, very recently that, man, my dreams have been they've been quite vibrant, you know, real vibrant. And to the point where I can just, honestly, man, I was sitting here the other day at work and I kind of just closed my eyes for a minute and I was able to fully visualize just all kind of stuff immediately. I was driving home here yesterday and today, and I drive down a long stretch of 96 that's straight. And remember the movie Inception when the girl kind of was lifting buildings and stuff and was doing all I was straight doing that on the freeway, breaking things apart and just seeing
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I don't know what that is, but to me it just kind of snapped and I was like, yo, that's dope. Like I was like kind of like it was really interesting and I'm driving, but I'm seeing all this stuff happen. So like, I saw this sign, I just like pushed it out of the way. It was just I was an architect. It was cool. That's what I only thing I could describe.
You are. That's what's up. You know, a lot of times I'll be on 275 and I'll be just looking up at cars and I move my motherfucking way. But man, I always envision like Godzilla just crashing through the freeway and shit, just murder and everything in sight. That's the type of shit I be doing. You know what I'm saying? Or looking in the sky, watching Superman fighting Doomsday or some shit and crashing on the freeway and all this calamity and shit blowing up and everything like that. But most of the time I'm driving, man, I just telepathically tell people to move out my way, and they move. That's a lot of shit I be doing. Telling people to slow down, switch lanes, get off this exit. I mean, it's funny when you you know what I'm saying, when you know you really the motivation behind other people's thoughts, when you know how to tap into them or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you can play with it like that, you get real interesting or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Using telepathy and shit. So I always tell people to activate and, you know what I'm saying, enhance their psychic abilities that we all have naturally. You know what I'm saying? And it's a natural gift that we all can tap into at any moment in time, but to do it with a conscious effort and to strengthen them and, you know what I'm saying, advancing them every day. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody interested in doing that type of shit, man, I'm more than willing to discuss that in private and hit my inbox on my Facebook or whatever. But those abilities right now, man, for whatever reason, whether it's, you know what I'm saying, the vibration of that we all represent or whatever, but it's something within the collective unconscious that, I don't know, I feel like it's a transformation and a like a quantum leap upgrade that's dealing with anything as far as like black magic and manifestation techniques, ideas that I can come up with to, you know what I'm saying, come up with practical ways and then activate them or, you know what I'm saying, adding on to my, you know what I'm saying, my magical repertoire I'm doing every day, you know what I'm saying, there's something else another idea to make it work even faster, even more effective. Like every day this is like coming on to me, you know what I'm saying? People coming up to me with ideas and I just got the answers or whatever, like right there. So man, this shit is real interesting right now though, man. Real interesting.
Oh yeah, most definitely, you know, and with it being so much of these visualizations and things, my dreams have been incredibly crystal clear. So crystal clear that I'm able to remember such details like the hair on the animal had such a high shine to it from the sun shining on it from the north. I mean, it's so vivid that, like I said, I could think back yesterday, and I don't know if yesterday or was that a dream. And it's happening more and more and more and more, almost as if there's some kind of event that's getting ready to take place. Like everything's going to come together. Last week was about dreams, everything dreams. We kind of chopped it up for a while about, you know, some of the dreams in general. Some of the things me and Michael talked about were different techniques for clarity in dreams. You know, a lot of people would say you want to start a dream journal. A lot of people would say drink tea. A lot of people would say do this, do that. Shannon, what would you say? Because you've delved into some dream work, yeah?
Yes, I have. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What, in your personal opinion, with someone brand new coming into this, how would you tell them techniques for dream clarity?
Well, one, for me, before you do anything as far as dream work, man, having a proper mindset and being able to, you know what I'm saying, proper mindset and having the confidence and having like dream recall and working with your subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be willing to face the good and the bad that's in you, the light and the dark that's in you. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta be able to go within yourself. You know what I mean? By yourself, nobody can help you do this. With a proper mindset, a healthy mind, and being able to, you know, in confidence and being able to, you know what I'm saying, create when you're in your dream. You know what I'm saying? That's what you are. We creators, we gods. And going within the dream state, man, and dealing with, you know what I'm saying, ways to have clarity, man, this is keeping focused, staying focused on the goal and all that you're trying to do. You're trying to, you know what I mean, you're trying to gain insight into all things or what they mean to you symbolically, you know what I'm saying? Having a mindset and the goal and, you know what I'm saying, keeping that main focus upon waking, that's the key. That's the key for me, you know what I'm saying? That's what works for me. Like, a lot of times I didn't have a journal. I didn't even use a journal. I can just I would wake up and I would go in the mirror and I would just stare at myself in the mirror, and then I get just downloads from everything that I had dreamed about previously or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times I go to sleep purposely. You know, so I like weaponize my dream state where I know I'm always gonna be lucid. Like I don't know how to not be lucid in a dream. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to just let my mind go without me in control of it, without me, you know what I'm saying, making something manifest before me or whatever. So I just try to, when I first started, man, drinking a lot of water, you know what I mean, I don't drink nothing else but water before I go to sleep. Maintaining or just making sure I watch what I eat. No like meat or nothing like that, no red meat, no dairy, and laying on my back. For me, I get more clarity and more insight when I'm dreaming or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that would be what I would recommend anybody try to, you know what I'm saying, if they stepping into this or you can't be scared either, man. You can't have no fear fear doesn't even make sense when you God, you know what I'm saying? You the sole controller of all of this shit, and sole control of your destiny. So it's foolish and asinine to have fear within your own power. It don't make sense to me, but confidence, man. Confidence is key, and having a proper mindset that you can't fail and you're gonna succeed in anything that you're trying to do, and it can't fail. You can't fail yourself when you have that proper mindset. It's like a unbeatable mindset when you know you're gonna succeed in whatever you're trying to do in your dream. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. You know, when you said stare at mirrors, I do a candle.
Right. Talk about that. Yeah.
I wouldn't know if I would say it's magic. It's just a candle exercise where I light a black and red candle and would sit in the bathroom and stare in the mirror until my face would change shapes. And, you know, that's really good for meditation. Because, believe it or not, when you meditate, if you kind of focus on that figure that you saw, you know, don't focus on so much and try to see what it is, except focusing on what I would do is focus on the silhouette. But then I would notice that as soon as I would break my focus, I would see these waves of energy in front of my eyes, almost like spiraling waves. And I would say, damn, I'm connecting with something every time I do that. Same thing with when I do my candle magic or I meditate with candles. I'll meditate and I'll stare at a candle for, you know, minutes on end until I notice every detail of that candle. You know, the hue of light, the golden color around it, you know, the shadow that it's going to emit. You know, I'll focus on it for a really long time. Then I'll, you know, sit and do a meditation where I focus on nothing but the flicker of that candle. And same thing, as soon as I break concentration, you know, when I look at the back of my eyelids, I'll just see waves of energy. It really lets you know that you're working with something, you know, that you're connecting. At least it does a really good job for me with that. I'm glad that you brought that up, staring at mirrors, because that really helps. And, you know, if your face changes form, don't get freaked out. You know, it's really just, it's not even a real face, really. It's just, you're just actually for the first time seeing with those real eyes.
Right.
Something that Michael and I touched on last week that you and I haven't spoken on yet was mental time travel. Michael had a very, very interesting perspective on that. I definitely would like to hear what you've got to say on mental time travel. What are your techniques? What are your practices? What is it that you do when you mental time travel?
Oh, I mean, I do this shit every day. One of my techniques, man, I use water to activate a lot of my, you know what I'm saying, time travel or whatever. I don't know why. I don't even know why this even makes sense, but it makes sense to me. But I communicate with water, and I program all the water that I drink. And a lot of times, say if I want to, you know what I'm saying, I want to tap into one of my parallel realities or change something in the past, you know what I mean, I would pour water in a glass. I would actually, you know what I'm saying, since it's Friday the 13th, this is something else I wanted to tell you. I would count down from 13 in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes I do it aloud. But when I'm doing it, I'm thinking, or my focus intent is going into a moment in my past or in a parallel reality, and I'm pulling resources from it, or I'm changing an event. I'm like using my willpower to change something that happened to me in the past to affect how I am right now. You know what I'm saying? Say if I got bullied in the past, I would, you know what I'm saying, had that activation. I count down from 13, drink the water with the intent in going into the past and beating the shit out of that bully, whoever was fucking with me or whatever, and using that confidence to make me feel confident right now in the present moment, so to speak. So when I do that type of shit, man, I do it, like I said, I do it every day. If I want to, you know what I'm saying, go back in the past and change any event, it can be anything, because all that shit is all memories, and it's all really in the present moment, because time is basically, I mean, it's not really linear, it's simultaneous. So a lot of times I'll just go in the past and change all kind of shit, man. I mean, it's so many different ways you can do this shit. It's like it's an infinite amount of ways and techniques you want to use. But one thing that worked for me, and I don't know, it just came naturally, was water. Was programming water, using water as a conduit of energy to help me in my you know what I'm saying, in my magical working or whatever, and it works, man. I mean, you can tell water whatever the fuck you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You can freeze it overnight with different phrases on it, and you know what I'm saying, the water crystals will, you know what I'm saying, will change according to the frequency or vibration of the words you speak to it, and that's what works for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird that you bring this up, because this week all I've been looking at and studying is like within like quantum tunneling and the multi-worlds theory that they got within the quantum, you know what I'm saying, mechanics and all that type of shit, and a lot of new discoveries that they pioneering within that. And I mean, it gave me so many different ideas, and it helped me this week a lot with my dreams and being able to have the confidence and knowing this, that, you know what I'm saying, I live within the multiverse. We're multidimensional beings. There's one thing saying it, but it's another thing actually experiencing your other selves in another parallel reality. You know what I'm saying? Another parallel universe.
Shannon, I don't mean to cut you off. I think Michael just joined the call. You there, Michael?
Peace to the guys. What's going on, my brothers?
What's going on?
What's going on?
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I have to pick up my baddies, man, from summer camp.
What's up?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I had to give them my ear for at least a little bit. You know, they want to talk.
Oh yeah, man.
You know how that goes.
Definitely.
But I know I'm gonna be hearing about this for the next few weeks anyway. So we got it in and took them to get something to eat. But you know,
right.
Dreams is what it is.
That's right.
Well, cool, man. Right now, me and Shannon are pretty much going over what we went over a couple weeks back. In the beginning of the show, I touched on the history behind Friday the 13th. Shannon and I discussed a little bit about clarity through dreams, different techniques for dream clarity, and right now he's going into what were you going into here, Shannon?
The mental time travel.
Mental time travel. So we're all caught up. So I didn't mean to cut you off, Shannon. You go ahead wherever you was at and continue.
Nah, like another thing that I use, say if I want to have mental clarity and being able to tap back into the past or whatever, I would tap into like Barry Allen, the Flash. I would use him as an archetype to tap into. You see what I'm saying?
That was me.
We all know he's a speedster. He goes back in time. He time travel all the time. But having the not only the confidence in being able to go in the past and change something, but like more so the determination and the willpower and being able to exert his will over any situation in the past that affect the future. That's another thing I meant to tell you. Like I would become the Flash. I would become everything that Barry Allen, the DC character, everything that he's known to be, all his attributes, and I would literally become him. Not look like him, but it's just like a symbolic representation of the mindset that I have in going and being able to, you know what I'm saying, mental time travel. I will become him. So that's a form of, I don't know what you call that shit, what, vampirism, psychic vampirism or whatever, you know what I'm saying, energy vampirism. But being able to tap into him and become him, that's one of the things that I use. You know what I'm saying? This gives me extra. It's like an extra boost. You know what I mean? Extra confidence boost in being able to do that shit. Not having to. It's almost like a form of hypnosis in being able to take on the attributes of that character. That's another reason why I be fucking with so many you know what I'm saying, comic characters or whatever, because they got attributes and shit, and it's all traced back to mythology anyway, so I just use them in a new, modern type of way, you know what I mean? Like we did in the past. That's one way I use that shit. But Michael, I got to hear what you got to say on that shit, man, because y'all talking about yourself last week. Y'all gave me so many different ideas and ways and looking at shit, man. I got to hear some more of that.
Well, what we're gonna go from here is we got pretty much. Hold on, there's a couple people clicking in here. Give me 1 second.
Oh, I figured it was gonna be you know what I'm saying, more people on here tonight.
Yeah, Michael brings a few people from his neck of the woods for sure.
All right, West Coast.
Do we get to kill white people? Oh, wow. Somebody just put in a message. Do we get to kill white people?
That's irrelevant.
Let me chime in on that.
Go ahead.
I think they're just
it's the features. It's
yeah,
the features at best. But let's say this though, to the trolls and even to the serious people, race is a construct of this matrix, man. For those who want to kill white people, I would say a better thing is to imagine you and all your people gone. Don't worry about nobody else, not even your people. Worry about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I was talking to a friend of mine, man, and he's one of those ones that, man, he's a Hebrew Israelite, and he's like, man, I can't wait till y'all come back and do this and erase all the white people. So I had to tell him, if everybody white left this planet, it would be niggas running this planet, and it would be niggerdom, and it would be chaos. It would still be police snitches. It wouldn't be so much racism. It would be classism. The goal is to exit the matrix. And anybody worried about somebody other than themselves, you're on the wrong path, because you come out your mama womb by yourself, and when they drop you in that dirt, no matter if you die with a plane load of people, you're going by yourself, and that's who you need to worry about is yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's my thought. Now, if somebody want to focus their energy on something else, by all means have at it. But always remember that where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you're worried about something other than yourself and your consciousness, then that's where your energy going. And that's what's fueling the matrix right now. Everybody buying burgers and J's and worried about Michael Jordan and worried about whatever. Man, worry about yourself. But I'm assuming it was a troll too. But yeah, man, that's neither here nor there. Because if you into these occult studies and you're doing this esoteric work, even in the dream, I've been in the dream. I was a little white girl one time. I did a past life regression. You know what I'm saying? It's up to the individual, and you do your own work and how you choose to interpret it. But that right there, you know, hey, to each their own. That's what I would say.
And you let me know that you're on a lower thinking level if you have to base people off of color. Or you're based more off blood type. And that's an actual fact. So I just think they're a troll, and I don't want to put any more energy or our time into it.
Nah, man, look. I personally don't even mind about it. If they want to waste their energy and putting on some shit like that, I'm just absorbing this shit, man. But everything you and Michael just said, man, y'all don't even need me to add in on that, because y'all said everything for real. Y'all close that shit out. So if anybody want to waste it, like, you should be neither here nor there with it. Be indifferent to it, man. This is a matrix. This is a simulation. We here to do the work. We doing the work. And if you focus on doing the work, that shit, white motherfuckers, black motherfuckers, niggas, whoever, will be irrelevant. And you can be able to use them and manipulate them within your reality to, you know what I'm saying, create a better result for yourself. While you bullshitting, you need to be doing your motherfucking work. I mean, It's funny when motherfuckers talking like that, man. I laugh, and then I just suck their emotions up, man, because they emotional, and they still religious, because they still think this shit real.
Actually, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, they're very religious.
Go. If they, I don't change though. If somebody thinking like that, I'll let them go. Let them still think like that, because all that energy they putting out, guess who's sucking that shit back in? Yeah. Me. So let's get it.
Let's get it. Well, Michael, you wanted to bring up a topic this evening, and I think that the topic we're going to start off with will lead into a few different topics here. We spoke the other day, and you mentioned that you really wanted to join the nightmares. I think that would be a very interesting thing to delve into. I'll let you take it from there, brother. What do you have for us on nightmares?
Okay, the thing we talked about it before, and for those who rarely dream or don't dream at all, when they do remember a dream, it's usually a nightmare. And so, doing my dream studies, like I said, I do poll questions. I do like social surveys when I go to holiday functions and be around family. Always ask about dreams, and I noticed that the one common thing was people quick to say they don't remember dreams, but they always remember nightmares. And so, what you got to remember first about a nightmare is it's all happening inside your head. The subconscious only communicates in symbols, right? So your subconscious might send you fluffy bunnies and rainbows, but when there's an urgent message, it's going to come in the form of a nightmare. Now, some of these nightmares, they might be purely mundane. Might be you getting chased by a bill. You know, a barking dog might represent a bill. But the thing about nightmares is it's an urgent message. And usually what happens in a nightmare is we either run from it or we wake up. And the thing is to confront it because, number one, it's going on inside your mind. So, obviously, your subconscious, and let me back it up just a little bit because we're talking subconscious. What a lot of people don't understand is that your subconscious is your personal deity. You know, in the Bible, when it said that Abraham left the city of Ur, it said he left with his God. It didn't say he left with the God, a God. He left with his God. He left with his complete mind. He took his subconscious mind and the communication with it with him. So a lot of people, even in the dark side of this shit, I've argued with people who told me Satan was real, and it was like arguing with a diehard Christian about Jesus being real. Yes, they are real. It's real to you and your mind. You know what I'm saying? So these nightmares are just urgent communication. It's all symbols. I'll say this. I have a family member. He's a friend of the family, but we family. He's out there where you guys at, out there in Battle Creek, right? Okay. And we talk dreams all the time. He does everything he can because he says since he's been a kid, he's had a reoccurring dream. It's a nightmare to him. And he goes lucid, he flies, he does all this, but in the nightmare, he always starts off in his house. And let me say this, he does everything they say you're not supposed to do. He drinks heavily to try to get away from these dreams. He smoke weed. He'll pop pills to do whatever he can because he says at the end of the night, I don't want to wake up in that house. But it happens to him almost every night. So I want to describe a dream real quick. He wakes up in his house. He's been in it so many times. He knows what's in each room. He knows exactly how to get out the house. He has to hit these fences. Dogs will chase him and hit the fences. When he hits his final fence, the dogs can't come, but he runs from the dream every time. And he's been having it since a kid. So can you imagine what his subconscious is trying to tell him? I mean, only he would know. Only he would know. But I'll say this. From that what I just said, a lot of times you find yourself, even me, I will say this. Since I've been working on my dreams, I haven't had a nightmare in the truest sense of the form. The closest I have to nightmare, and this is funny to me, I was in the dream, I was laying in the bed, butt naked, big old plush bed too. The mood was set. I looked over, man, it was Miss Piggy, butt naked, and she was like, man, come get this thing. Man, I jumped up almost hollering. It caught me by surprise, for real.
That's funny as hell, bro.
Funny as hell, but the thing about it was once I woke up, I said, damn, man, I should have gone and gave her something. I should have went deeper into the dream. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna lie. For about a month after that, I put Miss Piggy on the altar. I poured libation to her. Man, come on back, I'm ready. But the point I want to make is that these nightmares are specific just to you, and so a lot of people they have these nightmares and they just run from it. I got another real good friend, and in his dreams he's plagued by aliens. So he's like, I don't want to dream, man. The aliens, when they come and hit me. Now, me personally, I'm a sci-fi nut. For the longest, aliens was all I wanted to talk about. But I get it that these aliens, either they're ancestors or they're aspect of your mind. But either way, it's all in your head. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing to do is to confront it. And what I found was when I started getting deeper into my dream studies and astral, spiritual protections come into play. Because now that is real. You know, how you'll have a dream about somebody that's thinking about you. You're not giving two fucks about them, but they'll pop up in your dream. So, and the reverse is also true. Somebody who own their shit, they can invade your dreams with intention, because it's possible. We all share that consciousness. So, one of the first steps I took, because I ain't gonna lie, something hit me, alarms went off. I need to set protections around myself, because even though we say this always happening in your head and these are energies, what do you think happens to send a motherfucker to the insane asylum? He couldn't handle those energies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the thing is, you set spiritual protections around yourself. Now, it could be as simple as you want, depending on your ability to envision and imagine, or it could be as complicated as you want. And I say this to give you both. From my dreams, what I started doing was, initially, I just called on certain guys to roll with me. No, let me back it up. Initially, when I started doing my work, I would see a lot of my loved ones, family members, homeboys. I would see them in the astral and in the dream. And so I would just tell them, man, roll with me. You know what I'm saying? And that was my protection to begin with. And then from there, I started rolling with different deities. And again, these deities ain't nothing but aspects of yourself. So the thing is, you want to find whatever it is you're gravitating towards. Now, there are specific dream deities, specific. So I'm going to say this to the people. We're on the topic of nightmares, but to the people who don't dream, it's best to go and find you some dream deities. Morpheus is the god. Morpheus is the god of dreams. Also, any god of death and darkness, underworld, those are all dream gods. So you can go with anybody you want, really. Now, my personal favorite is a Japanese deity named Baku, B-A-K-U. And Baku is a mixture of, he has an elephant's tusk, an elephant's nose, a lion's body. His body is a mixture, a tiger's body. He's a mixture of about 3 or 4 different animals. The thing about Baku is actually a nightmare deity. And he's really there for kids, to have little kids back. Well, hey, man, I ain't nothing but a grown kid at heart anyway. So what I did, I called on Baku just as I was going to sleep. And the thing with Baku is a very simple saying you could say, Baku eat it. Because Baku, he feeds off of nightmares. So he just Baku eat it. I was getting the habit. And the thing about going to sleep is repetition. So anything you do, especially if it's a mantra, if it's something you set in your intent, you want to repeat it at least 3 times. At least 3. And so when you go into these dreams, especially if you're plagued by nightmares, you want to find you a deity that you resonate with. Now, if it's Jesus Christ, lean with it, rock with it. You know what I'm saying? If it's Shiva, then you do that work, whatever it is. And if you have no idea, because when I first really got into it, I'm not going to lie, initially all I had was Ganesha. I fucked it with Ganesha Tough and Yemaya, I'm going to be honest. And I say that because they came to me. And that's another amazing thing. You might want to work with Baphomet hard as a motherfucker. You might have Baphomet everywhere, T-shirts, statues, everything to remind you of Baphomet and get no play. But you never know. You might be getting rhythm from somebody else, but you're ignoring it. So you got to look for these clues in your waking life and while you're in the dream. You know, we had talked about it last week. Both my thing is Nordic gods. I'm into the Nordic gods initially. My most knowledge came from Nordic gods, Greek gods, you know, and things of that nature. Well, I started having dreams where, number one, I was seeing elephants everywhere. So I did my research. Oh, that's Ganesha coming through while I'm woke and while I'm asleep. So, okay, I snatched up Ganesha, started rocking with him. When I got on Kabbalah Tough about 2 or 3 years ago, I would have these dreams of like a hobo or a bum. He was a black dude, real skinny. He usually had 1 to 2, 3 dogs with him, and he had a weird sense of humor. And I used to always be wondering, who the fuck is this bum in my dreams? And I'd be in meditation. Who is this bum? Did my research, found out, Papa Legba looked like a little fucked up, you know. The thing about dreams is you got to remember, dreams are directly connected to mythology. Now, times change, but mythology doesn't. So a few hundred years ago, Papa Legba would have appeared as everybody back then imagined him. But in our lingo, in our time, anybody looking like Papa Legba would look like a fucking bum to us. Emaciated, sucked up, a little nappy beard. But I did my research and said, oh, this is Legba. Okay, Papa Legba, okay. And so I started working with that. Man, got fabulous results. So the thing is, get you some backup. Now, if it ain't deities, it can actually be anything. You can imagine yourself going to bed with an AK-47. What I will say, too, is when I started doing my astral work, I got homeboys that died real violent deaths. It was about that life. Well, those were the ones that came through tough for me initially. And I had a few of them. You hear it. You hear people like panicking and talking about it. You hear Bobby talking about it. Man, a lot of these people don't even know they're gone. And my boy, he used to roll around in the Astro. He had a big leather trench like in the Matrix, shades, and he used to have like little HKs on the holster on each shoulder. And he was about that action in the Astro too. And I put him to work for me because at the time my main goal was talking to my mom. So I put him to work, man. Let's find my mom. But I'll be honest, even in that, eventually it came down to something very simple. My mom was a very religious person. Man, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I went to the Kingdom Hall that we grew up in. There she was. I told her, come on, let's get up out of here. And it was so surreal in that the pastor, well, Jehovah's Witnesses don't have pastors. The brother who was up on the stage talking, he was a blur. He was barely there. He was back and forth across the stage. I was amazed at how many women and children were sitting up in that building, waiting on Jesus, waiting on the end. Amazed. It blew me away. But even in that, my mom said, I'm posted, doing me. All right, I know where you at. I'm going to holler at you. I got more work to do. But when I know if I want to find her, I go there and find her. But the point I'm making is you got so many options. So I just want to say on the topic of nightmares, the main thing is to wrap your mind around it and how you approach it. Because like I said, some people are saying, man, I'm plagued by aliens, man. Aliens. Man, they come and they strap me to tables and, okay, the first thing you got to do is demystify that shit. Because if you find yourself in a situation where, okay, I want to give you a good example, where you find yourself in a scary situation. This happened to me in meditation. I always compare meditation to the dream because that's where you at. Meditation is a more controlled version of the dream. I used to go in meditation. I would envision myself a triangle, a little black-like triangle, floating above me, scanning my body with the chakra colors. I walk it up, all the colors, scan my body, any aches and pains, I would heal it right then and there. Well, once I got in the habit of doing that every day, my mind, every now and then you'd be in meditation or dreaming, it'd say, man, try this, do that. So my mind said, man, it's all darkness around it, because it was like I was laying down, but I was suspended in midair around complete darkness. So my mind said, man, look around you, pull back from that table, because a lot of times you'll find yourself in the second or third person in meditation. You won't be looking out your eyes. You'll be in a dream, too. You're watching yourself do something. You feel all the emotions. You ride that roller coaster, but you're watching yourself, second and third person.
The most of the time, that's how I dream. That's how that should be, just exactly like you just said.
Okay. I'm going to say it like this. What you got to do is practice a form of lucidity, where you lucid while it's happening, because I hate being a participant in my dreams. It always comes a point where you'll get a cue and you'll know, let me try and pull out this, because I don't like being an actor. I like being a director, And I'm not saying that in an egotistical way, but a lot of times dreams follow very mundane paths. I be wanting to pull out of that shit. So let me tell you what happened in meditation. I would watch myself get scanned, and my mind said, see what's going on around you in the astral, man. I knew I was in the astral. So I pulled my awareness back. Bullshit ain't nothing. That triangle was actually the end of a scorpion's tail. Big, black, ugly, scary-ass scorpion, right? My first thoughts was, oh, shit, fuck, what is that? And all I could think to myself was, this is what's been scanning my body? So even though I panicked, I didn't throw myself out of meditation. I'm a sci-fi guy. I told myself, shields. I found myself in like a little glass vial. It was closed on both ends. It was round on both ends. and that scorpion just crawled all around, was tapping on it, and I was to be honest, I was actually in lightweight panic. What the fuck is this? What the fuck? Black, ugly, little pinchers. I chilled in that tube for not long, maybe a few minutes, and I had to tell myself, wait a second. If this is what's been scanning you, man, this is what's been healing you. Because I'll be honest, I would have aches and pains. I got a job where I'm a lumper and humper. I work, I'm on my feet, I lift, carry, bend, you know what I'm saying? So I had to tell myself, wait a second. Whatever this is, it's been looking out. I lowered my shields. And the only thing I was worried about was, man, what if them little pointy-ass feet poke me in the eye, man? What's the poke my eye out? But I just kept reminding myself, hold on, wait. Whatever this is, it's been helping me. Lower my shields. To fast forward through all the details, nothing bad happened, but it actually went to the level. A bunch of little insects and shit just came out of nowhere, filled every orifice in my body. Eyes, ears, nose, ass, pink, you know what I'm saying, dick, everything. But the point I want to make is, when I came out of it, and I'll be honest, the deeper you go in, the more real that shit is. You know, it take a minute to sit back and say, man, what the fuck was that? What was that? What I did, I did the thing. Okay, that was my right side of my brain. You in there, you gotta have anatomy books too. You gotta know what's going on in your body. So I knew that was the creative side of my body. That was the creative side of my mind was tapping in. I was all the way in. I broke out my book of deities. The best book I got on deities is Judika Illis, Encyclopedia of Spirits, Demons, Ghouls, and Goblins and Goddesses. And I broke it out. I looked up scorpions. I saw Serket. And it says sometimes she appears a woman with a hood on and a scorpion mouth, and other times she appears as a pure scorpion, jet black. And I said, instantly my spirit said, that's who was in your meditation. Wow. I added her to my altar, my daily, you know what I'm saying, daily libations. I started calling up to her, I shaved. Me and Serket went through so much that to this day, Kelvin Mechanics on Facebook, he made me some very specific sigils just for Serket. And what I ended up doing was she would be in my dreams and meditation so much that I realized that Serket is circuit because a scorpion's body actually looks like a circuit. You take the tail off, you got those feet and that square body, actually like a computer chip. And sometimes she would be attached to my back and it would look like a circuit. So I took it to the next level with my own intuition. Wait a second, that means the internet ain't new. So I applied Serket to my internet searches. And, man, fruitful beyond measure. I added 2 more goddesses to get me a triple goddess effect because, you know, you got to have the virgin, the maiden, and the crone. I added me 2 more goddesses. I added neat because I would have, at the same time, I was having a lot of spider images coming to me in the dream. I added neat for the web, the World Wide Web. I added neat. She's the center goddess. And I added Isis because it's the veil of Isis is actually the web. I added it. Oh, man, gnosis beyond gnosis, straight downloads. I wake up at 3 in the morning with shit on my mind that I know I wasn't thinking about. But the point I want to make is when you find yourself in these situations, don't panic. But even if you do, you wake up, and if you don't have the book, then you go online. The beauty about right now, living in this age of the internet, is if you're not in one of these groups, you need to get in one because the file sections be off the hook. And now that we even though we're in the age of Aquarius, I like to say all the time, we're in the age of Aquarius, but the tip is barely in. The tip is, you know, we ain't stroking yet to the age of Aquarius. We just sliding in. We just started sliding in. But the beauty of it is people are less tight-lipped about this. You know, you can go online and you can get some good feedback. Some good feedback. So the thing is, Google is a motherfucker. You can Google scorpion deities, spider deities, elephant goddesses, whatever strike you, and you'll be surprised if your intention, if you're very sincere about your intent, you're gonna find the answer, and sooner or later something's gonna resonate to you. And that's why I say I grew up. I was more on Loki, Thor. I was a comic book cat, and my mom growing up, we had encyclopedias. I was just all about Nordic gods. But I found out that for some reason I can tap into Kemetic gods super easy. So I took my studies in that direction. But the thing is, you just got to listen to your spirit and let fear be, because the same fear that paralyzes the coward, it propels the courageous. You know, so don't let fear paralyze you or run you backwards. You got to let that fear be like a hot iron poking your back, and you go forward. So you just got to, these dreams, they're just urgent communication. Even if it's about, man, quit bullshitting and pay your rent on time every month, motherfucker. It's stressing out your chakra system. That could be a dream right there. Your body could be tired of stressing about, and that's another thing. We talked about it last time. A lot of times you're going to dream, it might not even be gods and goddesses. Well, it is. It is. It could be different organs in your body. Those be trying to urgently communicate with you, too. I went through a whole phase where I would focus on different parts of my body and just beg it, man, reveal your name to me. What's your name? I don't want to call you lungs. I want to know your name, you know? And so I just to wrap up this, what I'm saying right now about nightmares is change the way you look at them, you know? And once you, I call it counter perspective, because we got this ingrained, indoctrinated train of thought which says you read from left to right, you start with number one, when in actuality, subconscious might go from C to A to W to Q. It's going to bounce around. So I try counter perspective. So whatever my first mind say in terms of how to approach something, I try to find the exact opposite approach and work my way from that way, you know. And anger works. You know, if you tired of having them nightmares, then get angry, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? Get mad. You know, right. I say this too. When I was working with Ganesha, I was very polite. A Yemaya came to me too, but I didn't really work with her. And that passed, but I was very polite with Ganesha. You know, that's another thing. Man, don't try to talk like them books. Oh, my goodness. That's the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do is try to be like, oh, for where art thou?
Yeah, fuck that.
I have talked to you on bended knee. No. However you talk, whatever your internal communications are, like me, I'm a mixture of educated and hood. I'm a damn good mixture of that. So that's how
Same here. Same here.
That's the best way. You approach it however you are. You be true to yourself. You approach it the way you approach it. But the point I want to make is I got very disappointed in Ganesha. It was something very specific I wanted. I got mad. I went into meditations with the intention of letting it be known I'm a motherfucking God, and to be honest, I'm here to destroy you motherfuckers. I'm tired of this shit. I ain't asking for nothing else. Well, at the time I was doing candle magic. Before I meditate, I would stare at a candle for about, before or after. This particular time, I did the candle after. So I went in super mad, let him know, you better tell everybody I'm here, and I ain't got what the fuck I've been asking for, and I'm finna start taking off heads. Tired of you motherfuckers. I don't worship shit and voodoo. I was going on one, and I'm just letting it be known. Got me fucked up. Well, when I did my candle meditations, you know, I focused on the candle, eyes open, staring at the void part, the blackness. Man, I'm staring at this candle, and in the center of the void, I see the shape of pt.2. Literally. I mean, literally. And I'm looking, and I'm saying, what is that in the center? What? Well, I came out, did my research on pt.2, got at him, got my answers. Now, ain't that something?
That's a motherfucker.
I'm blowing on this one deity, and he like, hey man, keeping it real, I can't even answer your question. You need to go holler at dude. Shot me to somebody else. And so, and I tell you something awesome about that. Even though I was mad at Ganesha, I had made a promise. You give me my answer. I said I'll set up a forever altar to you in the real. Now at the time, I'm in a tiny place. I'm in a 2-bedroom. You know, I got I got 5 people in my family. I don't have a lot of space. So what I did was, at my job, I was clearing something out like in the attic, a little attic area. Nobody ever go up there. So I made my promise, Ganesha. That's another thing. If you do make promises to these deities, even though it's an aspect of your mind, you follow through on your promise. Because essentially, you're establishing a pattern with yourself that I do what the fuck I say I'm going to do. So I was working up in this little attic place. I was actually pissed, like, man, they got me doing this motherfucking bullshit work. And I thought about it and said, oh, wait a second. I could put Ganesha's altar up here. Nobody will find this shit for probably a decade. So I went, real simple. Downloaded the image, printed out an image of Ganesha, went to the snack machine, bought me a bag of peanuts, got a coffee cup, filled it up with peanuts, did my ashes, and I prayed over it. Ganesha good looking, you know what I'm saying? Put it up. Man, and this I can't make up. I'm going to have to actually take a picture of it. I'm actually 4 years later, I'm actually back in the department that I was in at that time. They send me up to the little attic thing. I'm not even tripping. But then my mind said, man, go check on that altar. Man, I hid it behind some shit, pulled some file cabinets back. Man, if I tell you them peanuts ain't rotten or nothing, ain't no mold. And I said to myself, see, I kept my motherfucking word to you. Set up a forever altar to your ass. And
right.
It's still there. It's still there.
It ain't going nowhere.
It ain't going nowhere. And if it do, then it was a part of the process. But the point I'm making is, you get into this habit, even though it's in your mind, you treat it as such, as being real. But you got to understand, I'm just saying to anybody out there, the only harm you can do is to yourself. And that's only if you refuse to face the truth. Mental time travel. You talked about mental time travel. I told you, Gene, I saw something that to somebody else in mental time travel, very mundane to somebody else, but it bothered me. It shook me to my core, and I had to get over it. It took me a few years, and to be honest, I still haven't gotten back to the level that I was already at because it shook me that much. Because I was one of those ones that if you in meditation or dream talking to your mom, that's your mom. I went to mental time travel. I picked mental time travel has a clinical name. It's called chronesthesia. You can Google it. Chrono like time, and anesthesia like anesthesia. Chronesthesia. Right. So panic. I heard they want to panic lecture some years ago. I Googled it, did my research. That's another thing. Especially if you're doing something new in magic, you feed your logical side of your mind. That's the left side. You feed it. You do as much research as you can. And I did my research. I found the name, and I started practicing it. Now, Panic, when he used his example, he practiced it on actual memory. Since I was working on dreams, I said, fuck that. Everybody remembers a dream. I said, I'm going to apply it to dreams. So I started applying it to dreams. Well, I have a very specific dream that actually got me on my magical path. I was in a whole other state. My mother passed away. My siblings didn't tell me, and I declared war on them. Fuck y'all. Y'all knew my mama was sick. None of y'all motherfuckers told me, fuck y'all. Well, I had a vivid dream. My mom was talking to me and telling me, don't go hard on your sister. She's going through this. Her son's going through that, and your brother. Oh, you don't. And at the time, I had zero connection, zero communication with my brother and sister. The dream touched me so much that I called my sister the next day. Sure as shit, what she told me, everything going on, man. Wow. In the dream, because in the dream it was saying that one of my nephews went to jail, the other one is getting high, and I'm saying, fuck no, my sister's Jehovah's Witness. None of this is happening. None of this is going on. But in the end, I got the answer I was looking for, that it was actually happening, right? Okay, no, never mind. Damn. That was my wife. So when I found out that it was real, that was one of the dreams that I can envision in my mind vividly. I use mental time travel on that. And I would go back because my mom passed away in 99. And, like everybody, man, I miss my mama. So she's one of the first that I said, I'm talking to my mom. I want it like that. I want to get that foretelling, I want to ask for some lotto numbers, and, I want that again. Well, I used mental time travel on it. I went back to it about 2 or 3 times, had some real good conversations with my mom. The final time that shook me when I went back to it, I started playing with it. Because if anything you do repetitively in the dream or meditation, you get better and you start realizing you got options. So I pulled back my consciousness from me that was sitting in that chair talking to my mom. And while I was talking to my mom, I walked around that room and I explored the room. Mm-hmm. Well, I stood up behind myself like, oh, this is dope. And my mind said, go stand behind your mama. I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to stand behind my mom. I stood behind her, and it was like the astral. Now I'm in the astral, but it was like the astral image of myself sitting inside my mom's body, but leaning forward, and that's what was talking to me. Man,
wow.
that shook me up, and it bothered me. I mean, like I said, might sound mundane to anybody else, but it bothered me because I needed that to be my mom. I didn't want to know it was me having a detailed conversation with myself, telling myself shit that I didn't know nothing about. It took me years to get to that point where I just repeated, hold on. I don't give a fuck who it was talking to me. Told me some shit I didn't know nothing about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I had to get over that fear. Not even fear. I could probably call it sadness or disappointment. Because fuck no, I didn't want to see that. But yes, once I came to understanding that, number one, you are your ancestors. That shit is in your DNA. It's in your mind. You are the ancestors. So just like people saying, man, I don't eat nothing off my altar. Shit, I do. Because I'm the ancestor. And if I put it there and I want it, then it's there for me. You know what I'm saying? But it took me a while to get to that. I was so shook up by seeing, and the cool thing about it was the me that was sitting there leaning forward, man, I'd be damned if he didn't have a sinister look on his face. Now, maybe that was my how I felt, but it looked like he was like, yeah, let me keep talking to this motherfucker, shake his game up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But just to say that nightmares come in all forms, from Miss Piggy to finding out that you was your mom. You know what I'm saying? It all qualifies as nightmares. It's just how you deal with it. Now, if it takes you 3 years, time is irrelevant, so long as you're working on it. If you're running from it, you're running from it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're working on it, you're working on it. And the thing about your mind is, your deity is, every now and then it's going to take your temperature to see what you really want. It's going to see what you're talking about. Oh, you talking this shit? Oh, you want to talk to me in the hotel? You want to talk to y'all at all? Because I was working with y'all at all, and I saw a motherfucker like Two-Face off of Batman. One side was nothing gory, nothing horrible. Other side was like maggots and shit peeling out, and he would talk to me, showing me both sides. Shook me up a little taste. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, it's going to see what you're ready for, because it got everything in store you need.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I need to take my Shannon's phone because she got locked out of her phone.
Okay. Yeah, the thing I'm saying is that whatever you're ready to deal with, that's what you're going to be faced with. And it's going to give you a little more just to take your temperature, because we always find that we hit these plateaus. We hit peaks. You be at the top, then you hit a plateau, and you're thinking, man, I was just doing X, Y, Z. And then you're going to peak again. But on that plateau, that's your time for reflection. So you're working on dreams. You have a reoccurring nightmare. It keeps coming back. You're not peaking. You're at a plateau. So now it's time to reflect, research, and go in on that. You know what I'm saying? And just on the topic of nightmares. I just wanted to bring that up in terms of confronting these things and finding the gnosis in it. We all throw the word gnosis around, and everybody's quick to say knowledge. But that's actually like only half of the saying. Gnosis is self-knowledge. About, because the saying is, man, know thyself in the universe, and man, know thyself, and you will know the gods in the universe. You know what I'm saying? So the more you know about yourself, the more you know about everything else. So these nightmares, I just want to keep repeating, it's nothing but an urgent message. That's all it is. It's an urgent message. Your subconscious mind communicates with symbols, and the only symbols it know to get your attention, it's going to come in the form of a nightmare, And we can open it up. I don't want to hog the mic. But I just wanted to share that aspect of the nightmare. We didn't talk about it last time.
Bro.
That was pretty good stuff. I like that a lot. Yeah. Well, moving on right along, Shannon, you got anything for nightmares? Excuse me.
Not like one thing that I use is like, as far as nightmares, I try to consciously create them like on my own to test.
Yeah.
Like you say, to test my skill, to test my strength, my resolve. You know what I mean? And so I work with the Necronomicon so much. I use, you know what I'm saying, I use different ways of challenging myself by going deep within my subconscious mind and bringing up or manifesting some type of horrific circumstance in my dreams for me to overcome. That's, you know what I'm saying, as an obstacle to overcome. You know what I'm saying? I use that a lot. It's like almost like a simulated way of like fighting. Like in a video game, you might have a simulation where you practice and whatever. I use different things like that in my dream to test my shit, to see where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? To see how strong my willpower is and being able to, you know what I'm saying, control and manipulate my environment despite all of what I'm facing, despite all the odds. You know what I mean? So, but man, what you said, Michael, man, that was some profound shit, man. I can relate to a lot of what you're saying and dealing with, like, seeing yourself in the dream or whatever, you know what I'm saying, realizing it's all just you. And just having the mental resolve and the proper mindset in dealing with these nightmares and seeing them the way that you see them. That's very important, and I don't hear a lot of people within the occult community discussing it and breaking it down like that in a practical type of way that you just discussed. But it's some profound shit that you just said, bro. I just want to let you know that shit for real.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Shannon, like I was saying to Gene, we've been Facebook friends for over a year. And a lot of the things, we all got our shenanigans. We all post our shenanigans and go on there to have fun. But some of the profound shit that you said and other people said, it resonates. The only thing with me is everybody wants to appear the master. Nobody wants to be the student. You know, I ask my questions, or I get my feedback, and man, I'm quick to say thank you. I never thought about that, because that's all it really is the mind of a child. You know, and these dreams. Once you find out that they're communications, man, it's all about symbols. You get these. If it's Necronomicon, you want to get it. You want to get as much as you can. Own it. And any symbol book will break down Necronomicon to you anyway. You don't even need a Necronomicon book to understand it, because these only way they can communicate is through symbols. That's all. That's the only way to communicate. But you might take it as a blue spider or a purple hyena, but it's still just a symbol and what that symbol means to you. And I constantly say it. I said it last week. I'm gonna say it again. I'm not a teacher. I'm just a student that help other people with their homework. If I had mastered this shit, I wouldn't be talking to y'all right now. I'd be doing mastery shit. You know what I'm saying? I'd be levitating somewhere. But the thing is, I just remember not being able to put this shit in words. And that's the hardest thing to do, is to put a spiritual experience into words. Because even when you tell it, you're leaving out so much. You can even describe it in as much detail as you want to, but you're still leaving out huge chunks that, to be honest, it can't even be communicated.
Nope.
So I can remember being that person, having these dreams, having these things, and having these experiences in meditation, but having no way to communicate it. Or not even, if I can communicate some of it, you ask the question and you get zero comments on your post. Because a lot of times, we on islands in this consciousness. You're on islands. You know, you in Michigan, one in Kalamazoo, somebody else in Inkster, somebody in Compton. I'm in the Bay Area. Everybody's on islands. You know what I'm saying? The beauty of it is we all chose to come back right now when the island got a lot smaller. We got social media, we got internet, we got cell phones. You know, when truth be told, we do all this every night. Like I said, Shannon, when Gene first got at me and said, man, you want to be on the show? That very night, I have certain settings I set when I go to sleep. They're familiar to me, and I go there to get my gnosis. One of them is, it's a school, kind of like where, remember Bat Joe? They call me Bat Joe. Remember when he was on that stage talking? Mm-hmm. It's a school setting like that, but a little smaller, a lot more intimate. And I usually set that stage, and I usually talk to ascended masters. You know, I set the stage. I try to pick 2 females and 2 dudes, and I ask them very specific questions, and I want my feedback. Well, as soon as me and Gene talked that night, me and Shannon was sitting. Now, usually I'm in the audience, and I'm asking my questions from the audience. That very night, man, me and Shannon was sitting up there, sitting, man, probably 3 feet apart, leaning in, just going back and forth. And I laughed because I always said to myself, man, I ain't laid eyes on, half the people that reoccur in my dreams, I never even laid an eye on. Not in the real.
Right.
Not in the real. And so that's the only point I make is that we tend to discredit these experiences mainly because you can't put them in words.
Right. Damn. That's some here shit, man. But I took part of that shit, man. I got to do some dream recall and being able to, you know what I'm saying, do my little time travel shit to see exactly what the hell I was doing and shit, all the information that I might have missed out on and shit, man. That's what's up.
Dream journal, like how rough. Dream journal. Dream journal. Because when it comes to recall, we tend to miss the details, right?
Right.
When you write it down the next day, even if you only write down purple scent dog, when you go back to it, you're going to remember, wait a second, that dog was walking on snow. You got some more details. You have some more details. All right, man.
All right.
And so, Kelly and I go, hold on, one side, guys. Kelly's going to look you out? Okay. My daughter's shushing me from talking to other people while I'm on the phone. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
so go ahead, G.
I was going to just say, nightmares for me, I don't have them anymore. Like, I have eerie things or things that may scare some people happen in dreams, and to me it's just normal stuff. I have a reoccurring dream that actually happens here often, and when I describe it to some people, they're like, oh my God, how is it that doesn't terrify the hell out of you? And I'm like, well, it just doesn't. I'm not afraid. Now, granted, I am participating in the dream. I'm not controlling it thus far, but it's not terrifying. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually trying to protect some people in every dream, and it's like it's really suspenseful to the point where my heart will start to race. Like, it'll have such an effect in the dream world that it'll affect me, in the real world, where I'll even have to sit up sometimes or, look around to make sure everything's fine. And, it's not a terrifying experience, but I tell you something interesting that happened. I put a quartz crystal and an amethyst crystal in my pillowcase, and for the first few nights, nothing happened. But I noticed probably about a week later, man, I was tossing and turning something crazy, and I was diving in and out of dreams. And Michael, you said something in the last conversation we had here. You said that the dream never stops. It's always going. Well, I can relate to that fully because as I'm tossing and turning, I know I'm thinking to myself, don't disturb my wife, don't disturb my wife. But I'm just tossing and turning, and every time I'm turning, something's happening in the dream. And I didn't put two and two together for a few days, but I'm like, man, I bet you those crystals had me going antsy like that, They had me, really tuned in. It just took me to, I had to get to a place where I could really, really be comfortable and not focus on the crystals, because every night that's what I was thinking about. Like, man, these crystals, I hope they help me astro. Well, I think I was putting too much thought into it, but the dreams were so vivid and real, I was just snapping in and out of them. Almost like in the movie, if you ever seen the movie Stargate, how they jump in and out through that Stargate. It was pretty intense. But for me, like I said, I haven't had a nightmare in years. Even when I've seen things like family members die in my arms and stuff, things that would naturally be sad. For the most part, to me, usually it's just a dream. I can understand that this isn't for real. And a lot of times, what's really frustrating is I will remember that this isn't a dream. I will remember while I'm in the dream, hey, I'm dreaming.
Absolutely.
And, I always wake up shortly afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know something I've started to notice? Something I noticed here a few days ago. Every time I wake up in that stage of the dream, this is going to come off really different, but I'm psychically connected right in that time when I'm half asleep and half awake. For instance, I'll know things that are going to happen that happen as soon as I wake up. Like the other morning, it said I had that experience, and something told me that I wasn't going to have to be to work for another hour. I just knew it, and I woke up and looked at my phone, And then not 2 minutes later, I got a text message that says, hey, we need to leave an hour later. And that was one of a lot of times that I've noticed that when I'm stuck in that little bitty time, like where I notice right when I can take over the dream, like right when I'm noticing I'm dreaming and I wake up and I try my best to lay down and try my best to like focus on it, it seems to me that during that time, my antennas got to be at full blast because little things will just start dropping little like. It's hard to explain, and I don't have them all written down, but I've noticed that, yeah.
I want to interject. I want to cut you off, but I want to say while it's fresh on my mind. What you're saying is the actual state. See, what people don't know is because see, meditation is tricky because you got to be sleepy but alert, right? And that goes against everything you've been taught. You've been taught to go to sleep when you're tired. Lay down, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. But the thing about it is the dream and meditation. It's called the hypnagogic state. Hypnagogic. You gotta research it because the more you understand it, trust me, Gene, it's gonna help with that what you're saying. I want to make a point to you. Hypnagogic is. Have you ever been drifting off to sleep and you heard somebody yell, "Fuck that shit"? You hear a loud voice and it might shake you a little bit. What is that? That's hypnagogic. What people don't know is that state you just described, Gene, where you half woke, half sleep, that little sweet spot, that's also known as a shamanic trance. That's what you want to be. It's good, but I got incense on me. It's good. You want to be in, that's where the party's at. You want to be half sleep, but conscious. You want to be in that little midway range. And the thing about that state is, that's where, see, you said how when you realize you're in a dream, you wake up. Trust me when I say, now I've been so focused on dreams that I'll be honest, I sacrificed my daily meditations to focus on the dream. The time I would normally spend meditating, I spend taking naps now, just because of what I found out. And what you'll find is being lucid in the dream is actually a good thing and a bad thing. You can find yourself in a state where you're too lucid. And what usually happens for me, once I kind of, I'm not going to say I mastered it, but once I got real good at telling myself, now I'm in a dream, I found out that, boop, I always woke right up. So I started telling myself, okay, act like you've been here before. Stop being so excited and, or even just shouting to myself, man, I'm in a dream. I've been in dreams where, I'll tell you one specific one. Walking through, see, that's why I say the dream never ends. Because I actually reached a point where, you know how you hear about the Sandman? I reached a point in my dream studies where I would lay down, especially if I was comfortable. Usually happens when I take naps, not at night. I'm real comfortable. The house is quiet. I go to sleep. Man, dreams flow past me like little streams of like, it's sand. It's like sand. It feels like sand, but it don't look like sand. It's usually multicolored light. Sometimes it might even be total darkness, and it's just something that's either a little darker than the darkness or a little lighter than the darkness. But it's like streams. And I got to a point to where literally I would stick an astral hand in this one stream. I look into a dream and say, nah, I'm fucking with that. And I go over here, nah, I'm not fucking with that. Go over here, yeah, I'm going in there. So that's when I started realizing that, these dreams never stop. They just streaming. It's like your TV. You can flip channels and you see it. That's channels. We don't even realize the words we're using. Even though these words have been around since before TV, supposedly, a channel is just tuning in to a specific vibration, to a resonance. So you got these channels, they streaming past you. We just got in the habit, somewhere between 9 and 13, you got in the habit of not paying attention to these channels. That's all. You can get back in that state. I want to share a real specific dream. Happened to me a few months ago. I was walking through a hospital. You know how in dreams it be kind of the edges be kind of fuzzy. You're not looking left or right. You look straight ahead, but you will know who's around you. I was walking with my sister. Even though I didn't look around, I knew it was me, my sister, and the nurse. The nurse was a white lady, but it was set like in the 50s. The nurse had the old school nurse fit. We was walking to the hospital, and something hit me and I said, I'm dreaming. So when I reached that point of lucid, before I realized that, once you realize you lucid, chill out. Just remind yourself you lucid. Let the dream keep going, participate, say whatever it is you're going to say or listen or do. There's going to come a point when you can deviate from the dream. So when you first realize you're lucid, don't do nothing. Just chill, be as calm as you can. Well, there's one time I walked into the hospital and I said, the nurse said, I'm going to show you guys out. I'm going to walk you to the door. Well, I said, fuck that. I'm going to explore this hospital. I'm going to go around this hospital. So as soon as we got to that door, the door slid open. My sister was talking to the nurse. I spun off and dipped down this hallway. Man, I woke up like I got kicked in the ass out the dream. But I woke up laughing, straight laughing. Because I said, you know what I'm saying? You was too anxious. You were supposed to chill a little while longer. And I've had other dreams where I get my cue. That's where a dream journal come in at. You keep your dream journal. You start to notice certain things, especially colors. Especially colors. If you got a color that show up constantly, I don't care if it's a color you can't even describe to nobody. You write it down. It was a rusty pink. It was a purplish blue. You write it down. You're going to notice that color's going to be in there quite often. So what I started doing was when I noticed my little cues, I just chilled. And I say, act like you've been here. Don't get excited. Because imagine that you've been working on it and you finally reach your goal. Your mom and your sister left. They'll be right back. And you've been working on this goal, so of course you're going to be excited. When I used to do my Kabbalah meditations, I would knock yourself out there. I would envision the tree of life and all the spheres and planets. At the very top is Kether, and Kether was always like a little pearlish white, and it was glowing with a gold ring around it. Well, I got in the habit of exploring all these other spheres on the tree. One day I said, fuck that. I'm going into the Kether. I'm going to the top. I'm going to the top, baby. So I was so juiced, I usually walk my way up the tree, and I hit Mercury. I hit the moon and Mercury and then Venus and the sun, and I would go very, logically. I went straight to the top this time. I said, I'm not going into the top. I'm going into that Kether, that divine mind state. I went in, got kicked straight out the dream. Straight out. But the point I'm making is just get in the habit, Gene, of being cool. Acting like you've been there before. Man, I'm dreaming. Damn right I'm dreaming. That's why I got in the habit of reminding myself while I was woke that life is but a dream. And anything weird you see during the day, you better ask yourself, man, am I dreaming right now? And you try to jump or something, see if you float. I want to mention books. That's what I didn't do last time. Samael Aunweyor. He has a lot of books. The dude, and I found out that when we were talking about how hard it is to communicate a dream or something you saw in meditation, anything spiritual, it's hard to communicate it. Well, Samael Aunweyor, his books come off kind of cryptic. But once you understand that, oh no, he's not trying to hide them from you. He's not using no weird lingo on purpose. He's just doing his best to explain to you what he saw. If you get that book, Dream Yoga, and I'm going to say this too, it's on YouTube. You can Google it, read it for free. You can download it. What I usually do is, before, like a lot of these books, I listened to them probably half a dozen times before I bought it and read it in my hand. With the Dream Yoga book, I downloaded a copy. While I was listening to the YouTube audio book, I would read the actual book. So I be saying I want to bombard my senses, but I need my mind and my subconscious mind to know this is what I'm on. But in his book, he has some real good techniques. Some I don't agree with. Everybody, to each their own. Others, excellent. Excellent. So that Dream Yoga, Samael Aunweyor, his last name is Weor. He has a lot of books, a lot of topics. It's one thing he said in that book that resonated with me from keeping my dream journal. He said that everybody in meditation or dream is going to come in contact with their divine mother. And I was thinking, man, I ain't came across nothing like that. But I had to check myself. Yes, I did. I knew that Yemaya had been trying to get at me. I didn't respond to it, but I did respond to Serket. And me and Serket had so many, towards eventually I saw Serket, Grace Jones type body, hard body, but feminine, but it was an athletic build, slim. She always had this black hood over her head. She would be naked with a hood on her head, and the hood kept her whole face in darkness. So one day I finally said, I need to see what she looked like. And I told her, man, pull the hood back. Straight scorpion head. Shook my game up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Straight scorpion head. And that's when I knew, that's why I have so much respect for Kemetic deities and Hindu deities. Because out of everybody who had God, they did the best in terms of identifying every aspect of energy. Because all deities are, deities just energy. You go through the Kemetic gods, they even have a god named Hours, Hours, Hours. It's Horus, jumbled, but it's called Hours. The god Hours has 60 daughters, 60 seconds in a minute, 60, you know what I'm saying? 60 minutes in an hour. So Kemet did the best in terms of identifying every aspect of energy around you and giving you a way to relate to it, giving you a good way to relate to it. They called it Hours, man. Had 60 daughters. Wow. Where I got that from, I try to Google it, never find it. I got a book by a guy, his name is George Hart. It's another thing, too. I'm a cheap bastard. I'm not going to lie. The birds talk about me every day when they say cheap, cheap, cheap. What I do is I go and I get used books on Amazon. I got this good book on Egyptian gods and goddesses. The author's name is George Hart, Hart, Egyptian gods and goddesses. Real thin book. I paid under $5 for it.
I just bought that book.
What's that?
I just got that book for these Beniti classes. It's really good.
Come on, good book. In that book, you'll find the god Hours, Hours. And the more I went through that book, the more I started to realize that, they actually defined every possible energy. Just like you find out in Kemetic terms, every female goddess is Isis. But Isis has all these different aspects. She could be Hathor. She could be Nut. You can go down the line, but they all represent Isis. So, I'm getting off track, but that's where these books of gods and goddesses, these books of entities and deities come in handy because they help you to identify these different energies that's evident in you. But getting back to the lucid, real quick on the lucid, give yourself a cue. Now, for me, it might be different for everybody else. I found my cue from my dream journal. When you find your cue, once you see it in the dream and you remind yourself how you woke, you're going to see it in the dream. That's your cue to say, I'm dreaming, and I'm going to act like I've been here before. And that's lucid. Whether you know you're dreaming, even if you know you're dreaming and you can't get out, that's a form of lucidity. Because most people find themselves in the dream and they just trapped. They just trapped. So even if you know it and you still can't move, you operate with that understanding of, well, even if I can't change, then I'm going to look, like I say, a lot of times in the dream, you find yourself looking straight ahead. Look around a little bit. Try to move your awareness. If the edges is blurry, try to remind yourself, man, clear that up. I tell you the other weird one with aliens. I was in the dream. I was strapped to a table. I couldn't move. Now, most dreams where you find yourself trapped, you can't move, it's just sleep paralysis. It's just dream paralysis. So in my dream, it was these aliens. I didn't know if they were going to dissect me or not. I couldn't even turn my head, so I couldn't even look at the aliens. But I could hear them talking to each other. And it was like a projector in front of me. This is right before I got on Kabbalah stuff. It was a projector. And I looked up on the projector and I said, a fucking spaceship. So I saw like a gold colored ship, and I saw all these different colors of the rainbow just blinking on and off. And something in me said, I need a better look at that. So I said, zoom in. Got a better look, and I said, that's not a ship. That's like a crown. But it was elongated. It was like it was stretched out. And I kept looking, and it was jewels. And they were very specific colors in very specific places. And something was said that I can't remember at this point, but I woke up and I started researching these jewels. Man, it took me to Kabbalah. doing an internet search. I didn't have no books on it at the time. Did an internet search. Wow, I said, that's what I saw. That's why now when I envision Kabbalah, I always envision these different color rings around each planet. Like not a ring like the ring around Saturn, but like a actual wedding band type ring. And they each a different color. Some might be jewels, some might be metal. But from that dream, it took me straight to Kabbalah. And I dove in with both feet. So I'm just saying, you're going to find yourself at that point, Gene, where you're going to recognize something, you're going to know that you're dreaming. Just try to gain your lucid control by degrees. Because for me, and like I said, it might be different for other people, the more I try to take control too soon, you get kicked out. And that's another thing. We talked about it too. Usually you find yourself in a dream, you're going to have a guardian and a gateway. You're going to come to somebody that's going to tell you no in some shape, form, or fashion. You cannot cross the street. You cannot have this candy. You cannot step into this room. Something's going to bar your way. And you got to find your way past that guardian and the gateway. Because all you find is, if you look it up, I got a book here on dream interpretation called The Dream Dictionary from A to Z. Another book that I paid less than $10 for. Dream Dictionary A to Z by Teresa Cheung, Cheung. Real good book, but you'll find that windows actually represent planes. You know, you cross that like in football. If the ball breaks the plane, that's a touchdown. If you go through a window, you actually went to another plane of existence. You actually went through a gateway. If you crawl through an opening, you went through a gateway. If you climb over a fence, you're going over a gateway. That's a guardian and gateway, because something in you could say, man, I'm not climbing that fence. I'm scared of heights. But you climb it anyway. And you'll find that you're just accessing deeper aspects of the dream. So a lot of times when you find yourself in these situations where, like Miss Piggy was my gateway. I punked out at the time, though, but if she come around again, I'm going to give it a diss. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that it comes in all shapes, forms, and fashions, you know? And it's just that recognizing it, and recognizing it is a form of lucidity. Like me, I categorize the dream in 3 stages. It's the dream, lucid dream, astral. Other people do it differently. Some people say lucid is above astral, but for my studies, that's the degrees I take it. Dreams usually tend to be real mundane. A lucid dream, you might find yourself talking to that bum, and that bum start breaking down all kind of science to you. That's a lucid dream. Lucid and you possibly astral. You know what I'm saying? I categorize astral different because when you're in astral, you might go to another galaxy. You know, it's no telling where you might go and what you might do with conscious intent. And that's the thing about dreams is the dreams you don't remember, man, you never know. You could have been talking to Buddha. You could have been talking to, you never know. You could have been talking to Miller Hotel. You know, and you find yourself, the Archangel Michael, my namesake. I had a real brief dream, about 5 minutes maybe. Sat down on the couch, dozed off, and Michael showed me how to, his exact words, is how to traverse the universe. And it was these lines. It was lines. And every time the line shifted, it sounded like a huge, what's the way I can describe it? Like a tumbling lock. You know, the little locks you had in junior high school? Mm-hmm. Imagine if one was turning real slowly, and every time it clicked, it was a sound like it would shake the whole solar system. Boom! But it would turn real slow. And he was just explaining to me, you know, you hit these different angles, and you can go to this galaxy, and you there, and you hit this. And at the time, I was just so amazed, like, oh, man, I'm not even in my universe. I'm not in my galaxy no more. I'm in another. And then a moment of panic hit me. While he was showing me how to traverse, I wasn't paying attention to shit. I was looking like a country bumpkin that was at the city fair. And so the panic hit me that, oh, I wasn't paying attention. How am I going to get back? But that's where you do your research, your studies, and you understand the silver cord. Even if you don't see your silver cord, that don't mean you're not astral. A lot of people think, if I don't see my cord, I'm not astral. Not true. Your cord is your connection back to your body. So if you want to do a good astral experiment so that you don't got to see, you want to give your mind the background information so it can move confidently in these realms. So what you do is you imagine yourself, as soon as you lay down, you imagine yourself stepping out your body, attach a little cord or a link to your head, and you take it all the way down to the center of the earth. You attach the end there, go back up to your body, and you travel from there. So that's giving yourself that comforting blanket of, I can always find my way back home. Because my fear was how I'm going to get back to my body. This dude that took me to 3 different universes. But what we got to understand is the universe is all in our head anyway. Most don't describe to Gnosticism, but this is all a projection in the demiurge's mind. And believe it or not, Shannon, you the demiurge, and Gene, you the demiurge.
Yep. Don't get
Thank you.
I'm well aware of it.
Straight demiurge. So all this is happening in your head. You know,
yep.
I love Nordic mythology because I don't want to say flat earther, but I like the flat earth model because it challenges my preconceived notions of the universe. And it does. And whenever I read Nordic mythology, if you ever get to read it, in the very beginning it says that there was a frost giant that was the first god, and Odin and his brothers, they killed that motherfucker and used his body to create the known universe. Well, guess
we
what
all know where this is going. Yep.
Come on. They used his skull to create the dome of the sky and the stars and all that. Letting you know it's all inside of the dome, but also letting you know that it's all inside your head because you that frost giant.
Yep.
You know, Odin, straight up. So you look at mythology and it tied back into last week. You got to use. I would rather bump my head against decoding mythology than decoding movies because your dreams are directly connected to mythology. These movies are a pale imitation to mythology, and it's a pale imitation to your divine mind. So the more you get into decoding mythologies, read mythologies, I got some good books up here by Graves, Robert Graves, Greek Mythologies, Volume 1 and 2. I couldn't get those used, but I think for the 2 volumes, I want to say I pay less than $40. Real detailed mythologies. I forget the books that I got now on Nordic gods, but the more you get with these books and you read it, believe it or not, I had a dream where I was up in Valhalla, man, chilling with Odin and everybody, and just asking my questions, drinking ale, slapping people upside the head with haunches of venison. I was up there in Valhalla chilling like I was one of them. And that's how it usually happens. Whatever you resonate with, it don't matter if it's comics. I'm a comic book dude too. I just ordered me some nice little action figures just recently, a Batman, a Black Panther, and a few others. You know,
don't get me started.
Come on, but whatever it is you resonate with, that's usually where you're gonna find yourself at.
Yeah,
and that's because some people like Kemetic deities, other people like motherfucking Sumerian deities. So Tiamat gonna holler at you, whereas Serket hollered at me. And getting back to Samael Weumweor book is you got to look for your divine mother. She's going to reappear over and over in dreams, over and over in meditation. And the reason why you want to look for her, because once you identify her, that's your roadmap to everything. She'll take you wherever you want to go. Once you identify her, from there, it's because the great mother. Who? Okay, I'll talk to her, buddy. Don't worry about it. It's all good. So you find yourself in communication with these different deities, these different energies. The great mother, the divine mother, whoever she takes the form of, she's also an aspect of your kundalini. And a lot of people talk about, I know we're going to get into chakras, but a lot of people, we talk about kundalini. Most people have never had a conscious kundalini experience. So imagine being in contact with your great mother and she raises your kundalini for you, or at the very least shows you, Michael, don't jump up on that bed no more. Be good. You find yourself in these situations where we talk about chakras and kundalini energy, but it's real. It's spoken of in every sacred text, but most have never consciously raised it. Robert Bruce has a real good PDF. It's only about 70 pages. It's called New Energy Wave 2. You can Google it. It's available. You ain't got to worry about getting no viruses. But it's in most of the groups that we in. New Energy Waves, Robert Bruce. Yeah. And what he says in there is for the people who have limited ability to imagine. A lot of people don't have good imagination. Well, he has a method in there of how to move Kundalini around your body without even imagining. He tells you to get a sponge, a damp sponge, a damp towel, not wet. You don't want it dripping. You get a damp sponge, a damp towel, and like a feather or a toothbrush. And you do different exercises where you get the feather, rub it on your left big toe. Close your eyes, though, and you can feel it. Now you can imagine that feather, that light touch. Then you get the damp towel, and you rub it on your right knee. Now you can imagine that medium touch. Then you get the sponge, and you rub it on your left elbow. See, these are the ways you can train your body with your eyes closed or open to respond. And so, to be honest, a huge part of Kundalini, everybody want to raise the Kundalini to have visions and all this and that, is to heal thyself. If you trip, the saying, heal thyself, if you smush it together, it's healthy self. So a lot of what we're doing, we're not even realizing that that's what it's there for. So once I got this concept down, that's what I did at the end of almost every day. My feet hurt, and me, I'm a Star Wars cat, so I had to be careful once I got good at it. I would do Sith Lord lightning on certain parts of my body. I started off with the pineal, which actually is not a good place to start, because if your other chakras are unbalanced, you know, you're liable to get a false message from the pineal. But you start where you start at. So I would rain down purple lightning on my pineal, you know, like I was Sith Lord. But I got in the habit of, I got very few results from it. As real as it felt, as real as it seemed, I didn't get the results I wanted. So I started working from my feet up in every chakra color. And, you know, from your feet to your genitals is the root, from your genitals to your solar plexus is the sacral, from the sacral to solar plexus, and solar plexus you go to the heart. They each got a specific color. I started rocking with the colors. So the colors I shocked myself with was those colors. Well, once my mind saw, oh, this is what you want, man, that Sith Lord lightning was too much. It was almost seizing my body up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I had to go from the lightning to the feather. Let me do it a little softer, you know. And right. I'll be honest, at this point, I can raise my Kundalini when I want to. You know what I'm saying? Samuel Iyunwayor, in his book Dream Yoga, and also in his book Kabbalah and Tarot. Both of those books. His books are so old. They're from the 50s and 60s. You can get them all for $3 a pop. In that book, he has mantras that you pronounce. And what he's heavy on transmuting sexual energy. So he focuses on sperm for the male, ovum for the woman, and you pronounce like the S, like a snake. You do that, you inhale, and then on exhale, you do the S sound. And while you do it, you imagine your semen, or for a woman, ovum, same thing. You imagine it going up from sacral chakra, solar plexus, heart. Because what you're doing is you're moving, because every 72 hours for a man and for a woman, that is sexual secretion, it travels from your from the sacs of a man, uterus of a woman. Every 72 hours, if you're not busting nuts, it's going to travel up your spine to your brain and back down again, right? If you put some conscious thought to it, that's where your gnosis comes from. That's how you get more vivid dreams and all kind of shit. And, you know, so I fucked with Samuel Iyunwayor because before I got his book, I had my first book of shadows. I wrote down all these revelations I had. I just knew that I was having experiences that nobody on earth ever had before. But when I got his book, Kabbalah and Tarot, man, I was disappointed. Because everything I had wrote down in this book that I thought was brand new game, he was talking about it. He wrote his books back in the 50s, right? Right. But once I got over my disappointment, I had to check myself. Man, you should still be happy. Because obviously I tapped into the same thing he did. He just wrote his books 40, 50 years before me. So the point I'm making is you will get these downloads. It just has to be with conscious intent. It ties into the dream, ties into meditation, ties into your chakras. So while you're doing chakra work, you want to envision that your chakras, rising up. But man, ain't nothing wrong with them because this is how supposedly the ascended masters are reborn. Because think about this, you demiurges. I'm talking to these two demiurges on the phone. Think about this. Think about this. Every time you bust a nut, how many semen do you expel?
Millions.
Yeah.
That's what makes you a demiurge. Can you imagine? Each of those contain life. And your raunchy demiurge ass is busting it into a sock, into a vagina, into somebody's mouth. You're killing millions every time. Every time. But the thing that Samuel, what he stresses is, if you use these meditations, pronounce these mantras, consciously raise your semen, you'll bust a nut and just expel one. You'll expel one semen and to fertilize that egg. See, now, that makes a lot more sense to me. Now, mind you, I got 3 kids. I haven't done it once. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm pure demiurge, but the thought of that is you don't got to expel. It's ejaculation, actually. You can get books on it. It's a Taoist technique, ejaculation. That's how those Chinese emperors a few centuries ago used to live to be 190. Them emperors would have a wife for every day, 365 wives. Every night they laid down with a different one and had sex. But the thing was, you should choose when you ejaculate and when you choose not to. Because if you don't ejaculate, you injaculate. And that semen stays in your body, travel up your spine, because the semen, last week, Gene, we talked about Minos. We was talking about mythology. I love talking about King Minos and his white bull, right? Yeah. King Minos, he prayed to Poseidon, make me a wise ruler and a wealthy ruler. Poseidon, who's the god of the water. Now, water represents 2 things, knowledge and sexual juices, right? Right. Poseidon, and your pineal was actually Poseidon too, if you're in that mythology, right? Wow. I want to say he's Uranus in terms of planets, Uranus or Neptune. But either way, Poseidon answered his prayer, said, "I'm gonna send you a white bull." He said, "But when you get that white bull, don't you keep it. You better sacrifice it right back to me." And we just said God is you, is you. So if you decode that mythology, that white bull was semen. So he was saying, "I'm going to give you this nut, but don't you bust it. You sacrifice that little bit of pleasure, keep it in your body. I'm going to give you everything you asked for." Well, in the story, Minos saw that white bull and said, "Fuck that, I'm keeping it." Right? Right. He put that bull in his corral. He got another little imitation bull, sacrificed it, but Poseidon knew the difference because God is in you. So God knew, this motherfucker, he slick. He busted that nut. Well, as time progressed, King Minos was somewhere else, another country, ruling wisely and successfully. His wife fell in love with the bull. So she went to, I think it's Archimedes, or Daedalus. He was like a little wise dude, built shit. He built the labyrinth. In Greek mythology, they had the labyrinth with the Minotaur in it. Well, how the Minotaur got in the labyrinth, King Minos' wife fell in love with that white bull, and she wanted to fuck. But she couldn't figure out how to work the mechanics of it out. So their resident alchemist built a contraption so she could ride the bull. She had sex with the bull. She gave birth to a baby. The baby was born with a bull head. It was misshapen. So they threw it in a labyrinth. And then Poseidon told him, well, once a year you got to sacrifice something to that Minotaur. That Minotaur is essentially your pineal. So it went from being sexual energies to the brain because where does that semen travel from? From your sacral region all the way up to the crown and the pineal. So all these mythologies, they all apply to your body, astrology, very simple shit. But if you can decode mythology, you can decode your dreams. And most mythologies follow a Gnostic model. So the more you understand Gnosticism, the easier it is to understand your dreams. Just like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I focus more on decoding mythologies than I do movies, because Hollywood is giving you the fake dream in the form of a movie. Most people don't dream. Most people don't dream, but you could ask them about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when it was 9. They could start singing the song, ooh, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I love you. So how is it you don't remember your dreams from last night, but you remember Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
Right.
Fake dream. It is not for you. It's exercise, and that's something I give Panic 1,000 props for, because he said the only reason you decode a movie is to understand your fucking dreams. Most people don't get stuck on, because you can decode a movie without even meditating. Once you get the keys and you understand, oh, that means this, that means that, that means that, you can decode a movie and be on point. But can you decode your dreams? Not somebody else's, decode your own. So I just always stress, from dreams to your mind to mythology. And there's books. I was blown away. J.R. Bearline, he has a book, Parallel Myth. He says it straight up. Carl Jung says it. The guy who wrote The Hero with 1,000 Faces, Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell, he's a good author to read because he decodes mythology and he directly ties mythology into your dream. So whether you have a dream where you out of time, because you have a lot of dreams where you're out of time, whether it's the future or the past, those are mythologies. And the mythology is ever changing. It changes with the times. So the landscape might change. Instead of it being a horse-drawn chariot, it might be a Mustang, but it's still mythology. You know what I'm saying? And so you just got to, I just say always get in the habit of focusing on, so I want to tie it back into being lucid. Get in the habit of that dream journal for me. Might not work for everybody else, but remembering the key things about your dream. When you find yourself in the dream and you spot those things, you got to play it cool and remember that I'm dreaming, but I've been here before, because you've been doing it over several lifetimes now. You've been doing it for a long time, and it's actually quite natural, too. The only fear we experience in terms of a nightmare says, most likely you don't remember your past lives. We before we come back to Earth, we agree to do the work. But when you come back to Earth and you grown and you working and you struggling, you be like, fuck this. Ain't no way I agree to be broke. Ain't no way I agree to argue with my wife every motherfucking night before I go to sleep. But, yes, you made agreements to do that work. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But just want to say that, G. I know I'm on a lightweight tangent, but...
No, you're doing just fine,
Damn.
I think that we pretty much did you did justice, because I had a follow-up question, but you nailed while we were talking. You already hit it. It was the different levels and dreams. Well, one thing that we had talked yesterday or day before yesterday about, we want to do a future series on chakra work. But we can touch on some chakras here this evening, because chakras have a lot to do with dreaming sometimes. I mean, a lot of times, a lot of those people that can't remember their dreams probably just need to work on a little bit on their chakras, and
no doubt.
Excuse me. And then they'll be able to, potentially see dreams or remember them. What do you guys have as far as, I think we're going to start off with Shannon on this one. Shannon, what would you suggest to someone who has no idea about chakras, but somebody that's wanting to get into it? What would you give someone on a real basic level? How would you explain chakras?
Well, one way I would try to explain that, you know what I'm saying? They say that we have seven chakras, you know what I'm saying, within our body. But basically learn the importance of frequencies and vibrations of different spectrums of light. You know what I'm saying? Orange, red, green, yellow, indigo, you know what I'm saying, purple or violet. Learn what those mean to the human body on a metaphysical level. You know what I'm saying? Learn what that means, and like the corresponding different attributes to these different colors. You know what I mean? And Michael, I know you brought up something last week that I wanted to ask you about, though, based on the color yellow. Color yellow being the yellow brick road, and you know what I'm saying, dealing with like the Wizard of Oz being the key way and activating, you know what I'm saying, the astral. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear what you got to say on that. I've been waiting to ask you about that.
Okay. See, I found this out. Before I got on Dreams, I was focused on astro. I wanted to guard my body. And I was having very little success initially. But then, from my studies, from listening to Panic Lectures, Bobby, you realize that your solar plexus, if you go, like I said, get you an anatomy book. Even if you go online and Google it, put it on your phone, your computer, get you an anatomy book. What you'll find out is that your solar plexus is called that because, number one, it's solar. It's a miniature sun. Even though your heart represents the sun, it's the color green. Your solar plexus is yellow. It's a miniature sun, solar, right?
Right.
And then plexus. Plexus is like a nexus. It's a bunch of nerves right there in your gut. When you say you got a gut feeling, it's usually your solar plexus right there, right in your solar plexus. Solar plexus is the color yellow. And in the movie Yellow Brick Road, that's how they travel. Just follow the yellow brick road. So I did a lot of yellow. See, we're taught that yellow means caution. See, that's another thing I want to say while we're on the same subject. We do not live in a civilization. We live in the symbolization. You know what I'm saying? It's all symbols. The only thing is, though, these symbols been jumbled up on purpose. So we see the color yellow. That's a stoplight or a caution sign. That's a caution sign. It means slow down or stop. Actually, it means go. It actually means go. So I would be talking, and I would see the color yellow pop up, and I thought it meant be careful about what you're talking about. Actually, it means dig in deeper. So at the very simplest, you can just go to sleep in a field of yellow. You can imagine a yellow flower. But yes, the solar plexus is actually how you go astral. That's why your core is usually connected somewhere between your solar plexus and your sacral, usually around your belly button. But it can be but I gotta say this too. Some people go astral and their cord is connected right to their third eye, you know, and it's all the same. But in terms of your chakras, especially if somebody's having no results, your solar plexus is the highway. And however you choose to envision that, that's how you do it. Now, I got a real good book. I got it in my hand right now. It's called The Chakra Handbook. It's another book that I probably paid $7 for used. No marks inside it, none of that. The Chakra Handbook by Shalila Sheraman and Bodo J. Baginski. 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 Bodo J. Baginski, called The Chakra Handbook. This, and it's, let me see how many pages. It's 176 pages, real small paperback book. I got some of the best game ever out of that book. And I'm a reader, and a lot of people aren't, but I'm going to say this. The more you know about your chakras, the more confidently you approach it. Because, again, the solar plexus is a highway. How I look at the solar plexus is directly below the heart. The heart is the gateway to higher. The heart is the gateway to higher realms. The astral is not that high, man. Kabbalistically speaking, man, the astral is right above us. It's on the tree of life. Earth is at the bottom. That's Mount Kuth. That's the kingdom. Right above Earth is the moon. That's your side. Now, you got to go through the moon to get there. It's called the astral triangle. It's Mercury, Venus, and the moon. It forms a triangle. That's where you go when you dream. That's where you go and you meditate. And that's where a lot of people go when they die. And they don't know that they don't, because if you think about it, the moon, Mercury, and Venus are the three closest planets to Earth anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you find yourself. I like to always tie in the astral triangle to Back to the Future, right? And that flux capacitor. In the movie Back to the Future, Doc Brown invented the flux capacitor so he could time travel, right?
Right.
Well, that flux. Oh, that's my stuff, baby. In that movie, Doc Brown created the flux capacitor. Without that, you can't time travel. The flux capacitor is in the shape of a downwards triangle with three voids at each corner. the downward point and 2 corners. That's just the astral triangle in Kabbalah. That's where you go when you dream. So all those Back to the Future movies was just mental time travel, right? Marty McFly was just using mental time travel. You know what I'm saying? So that whole little area is essentially your solar plexus. The whole area, the color yellow. You know what I'm saying? So, but the color yellow means different things to different people. You know what I'm saying? To one person, the color yellow might mean fluffy kittens and flowers. Somebody else, it might mean vomit. You know, so it's just a matter of, number one, understanding what the color yellow means to you. But these chakras is so critical because you can go into the dream or the astral through any one of your chakras, though. I spoke on it briefly last week in David Michael Cunningham's book, Chaos Magic. He has a real simple meditation tactic in there where you envision this 5-petal flower and you set it ablaze, and then you start spinning clockwise, and you blaze up another 5-petal flower, and you spin that one counterclockwise, and then he just said you sit and you meditate on it. But when I did it, outstanding results. But after doing it so much, I got bored. I stepped into the center of the flower, got even more gnosis, right? Well, from doing it so much and getting bored with it, I said, man, what's behind this flower? So I actually went behind the flower, flipped it over, and it fucked me up. I saw a clockwork. It was just gears. I mean, billions upon billions of black-ass gears turning. It was all interlocked. But each of them had a center you could go through. I know now I was in the clip-off. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Opposite tree,
But by that flower being, because he says when you blaze it up, it should be like a multicolor. But I did it with all different colors. But at the time when I accessed it, I was essentially in my crown chakra. The crown chakra is described as being a flower with 1,000 petals. The 1,000 is just a number that signifies infinity, right?
Right.
But I saw 1,000 basically dark flowers. It was the clip-off. Oh, man, I had so much fun going through those doors. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just saying that chakras have polarities too. You know, one spins clockwise, the other counterclockwise. You go up. Some have all the chakras are feminine. All of them are feminine, even though some have more masculine qualities than others. But they're all feminine. But you'll find yourself going up these chakras in these different colors, and they got different attributes. Might only mean something to you, though. But the thing is, it's always experimentation. You know, a lot of people read books and don't do none of that shit. They can tell you about it. I want to say this. Panic book, a lot of good information on the chakras, right? Mm-hmm. But when I first got Panic book, I'll never forget, I was in the beginning stages experimenting with my mobile altar. I was sitting on my front porch. I had my images and my crystals spread out, incense burning. I was reading his book, and he had a real simple ritual you could do. I mean, so simple that at the time I read it, he said, I got to do it. He said, you put these different angelic entities at each corner of a box. For me, I make a box of diamonds, and it's Raphael, Azrael, Michael, and Gabriel. You put them in each box. Now, each of these that I just named, each of them represent a very specific point on the compass. Some are, each of them are elements. Elements represent different points on the compass. So God always said, Michael said to his right. God is in the east, but facing you. So for Michael to be at his right, that's all good. So if God is in the north and Michael's to his right, Michael's in the east. You can put these things. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Michael's in the east. Either way. But the thing is, man, you ain't got to follow that. You don't have to follow it precisely as they say. For me, I got to have a good image. So what I did, I envisioned like cherubs, angels with a bunch of wings. I envisioned each one slightly different. I placed them each north, south, east, and west. You place yourself in the center, and in that, because those are your protection. Those angelic deities at each point of the compass are your protection. You place yourself inside the box, and you call up one of the Goetia, and you talk to it. While I was sitting on my porch, I was reading through his book for the first time, and I said, I got to do this. It was just too simple for me to envision. Man, I did it, and I got a very unexpected Kundalini rush. I mean, totally unexpected. I called on Kamo from the Goetia. Kamo is a thrush or a raven. If it's easier to picture a raven and a thrush, it's a black bird. But he has a monocle in one eye and a sword at his waist. I called him up. Gene, I'll tell you, I don't know, Shannon, you can follow this, though. I'm really going to make Sonic. But when I called on Kamo and he appeared, he had a sword at his waist. He was a bird at first. He morphed into he became the Tyler of the Lodge. Had a sword at his waist.
Really?
Had a Masonic apron on. And, man, I quizzed the shit out of his ass. Inside that box. But like I said, I had a real unexpected Kundalini rush. And that's why you want to get in the habit of raising your Kundalini, because you don't want to raise it and you got to block it somewhere. It's like trying to run water through a pipe and somewhere you got to clog, you know. Right. So sitting on my porch, I had a whole feeling like I was being electrocuted, and then somebody dumped water on me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it didn't last as long as I would have liked it to, but from that little piece I did get, me and Kamo developed an awesome relationship, and that's why I say too. I want to say this too, is that even with your chakras, with these deity works, it ain't all light, it ain't all dark. It's a combination of both. You know, right. Like in that ritual I just described, Panic says you get these angelic deities, you place yourself in the center, and you call up a dark deity, and you get down. You know, so I'm just saying, getting back to the topic of chakras, that book I said, the Chakra Handbook, it's used on Amazon for like $7 or $8. With the cost of shipping, you might spend $11 or $12. It's a book that I refer back to constantly. It's a short book. It gets to the point, tells you the sounds and frequencies that resonate with each chakra. It's an awesome document. So I would just say to somebody who's never done chakra work, I would recommend that book. If you're not a reader, you got to be careful with YouTube, because some people on YouTube got good info, some people don't. And it's always best, because I tell you something about your mind most people don't even realize, is that I could be dropping some good shit right now. It might not even touch you. It might not even mean nothing to you. But once you read it and know it for yourself, you'll say, oh, man, I knew that. Because you do. You know, we find replacement teachers until our own internal kick in. You know what I'm saying? So it's best to get that information for yourself, get a good book. If that book didn't do it, then your mind's saying get another book. And I just like that book because it was inexpensive, and it gets right to the point on each chakra, on each one. And the thing is, you can do a chakra a day, you can do a chakra a week, you can do a chakra a month, you can do a chakra a year. Because the thing about it that I learned from that book is every year of your life you go through a different chakra. So you begin in the womb. See, a lot of us, we say, I'm like me, I'm 45 years old. No, I'm 46 because of those months I spent in the womb. So, and it ties in like in Egypt. They said that when you joined the mystery system in Egypt, you wasn't considered a master until you was 49. That's an odd number. No, that means that you went through every chakra 7 times.
And what's 4 plus 9?
Come on.
13.
4. Oh, okay.
But come on. Numerology too. I'm glad you said that. Numerology too. You know, you want to get a book on numerology so you can understand these numbers, because all numbers condense. You know what I'm saying? Right. The 144,000 is just 9. The 9 months you in the womb. 144,000 go to heaven. I don't want to go to heaven because I know that heaven is just a motherfucking astral. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not my destination, but I can dig what you're talking about. You know, you condense these numbers. But yeah, and even with the chakras, I just learned something the other day. 9 is a real prominent number, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you take the number 9 and you line it up, and when you get to number 6, which is your chakra, right? The number 6 chakra is your pineal. When you get to 6, you put 7 and 8 to the left or the right of it, because at your pineal gland, you got 2 other major organs that activate along with the pineal, which is the thalamus and the pituitary, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you get 9 numbers, you count to 6, you put 7 and 8 to the left or right of 6, 9 above, you get a cross. You get the crucifixion. Crucifixion happens in your head. Another excellent book is by George Carey, Zodiac Cell Talks and God, Man, Salvation. That book helped me to understand the whole Jesus mythos and all of that. You see, Jesus died in Golgotha, which is the skull. He was crucified in your head. What most people don't know, I have a BS in computer science. It sounds good, but I'm a computer repairman. But what I learned from computer repair is that whenever you cross wires, you actually increase the amplitude, tenfold, hundredfold. So the crucifixion, the cross is crossing those wires in your brain. When those vagus, you got a set of nerves called the vagus nerve, runs from your stomach all the way up to your dome. Well, once it gets past the spinal column, those nerves cross. That's the cross that Christ was crucified upon, right? Now, once those nerves cross, the energy explodes 100-fold, 1,000-fold, whatever, because it's up there in the dome, And I'm going to go back and forth again, back to Freemasonry, Gene. When you in that lodge, you're just in the dome of your head. You know what I'm saying? The clouded canopy, a starry decked heaven is your mind. And that's where the crucifixion happens. You know what I'm saying? And so you find yourself with these allegories and these tales, a lot of people took literal. And the reason being, the majority of people are supposed to be asleep. It's supposed to.
Yep.
Otherwise, they'd be in your way while you was working. You know what I'm saying? So you find yourself with these, because the Bible, to be honest, is a real complicated document. I figured that out. That's why so many people shit on the Bible, because, man, that motherfucker's not easy to understand. So it's easier to shit on it and say, fuck that motherfucker. But now you can ask somebody about the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, some other ancient book, and they got it. That's because those other documents are way older than the Bible. And we've had a lot of scholars dig into those books, and it's easy to understand now. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of this Bible, the Bible is actually a very recent document, 2,000 years old. Even though the Bible is just a collection of all previous documents jumbled up and put in a different format. But we haven't reached the point to where you can read that book, especially for, I'm going to say, a lot of people. I ain't going to say black people. But for a lot of people, the Bible is associated with a lot of, bullshit. Going to church, getting pieced if you go to sleep, a lot of stuff that's negative, But if you really sit down and decode it, you understand that all documents, Bible, Quran, is only describing your body, your mind, and the universe. Astrology, astronomy, your mind, and your body. All of them. And we talking about chakras, the story of Joshua comes to mind. Joshua went around the city of Jericho for 7 days. He blew the trumpet 7 times. He did this 7 chakra story. You know what I'm saying? And when he did that 7th day and he blew the trumpet the 7th time, the walls crumbled. The walls around that motherfucking calcified pineal gland crumbled. You know what I'm saying? You got to do the work. That's all that story tells me is do the work, and you're going to have access to what you're trying to get. Because imagine if Joshua didn't blow the trumpet 7 days, faded it 5 times. Oh, he was stuck in his throat chakra. He didn't make it to the pineal. If he did make it to the pineal, you got to get to the 7th chakra. So I'm just saying that it's easy to say fuck the Bible or fuck whatever, but can you decode it? Because inside decoding it, and again, decode it for yourself. There's keys to make sure you don't decode it wrong, because ego always threatens to get in there and tell you that you knew that shit anyway, and that, yeah, that's what it is. But understanding your chakras is just understanding your physical body. Like now, I can't really stand to be around arguments and shit. I really can't, because I feel that shit all up in my gut. I can feel, I know when I'm being traumatized, even as an adult, when something's going on and I say, oh, no, I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to subject my chakra system to that. And so the more you're aware of your chakras, especially that gut feeling, people don't know it, but your stomach, your heart, and your head, those are three major centers on your body. Magic, most books you read, they tell you magic comes from your gut, because magic is earth. All magic is associated with the earth, the elements, the 4 points of the compass, spells that involve different elements from the earth. You know what I'm saying? Magic is, okay, good way to put it. A magician is a magi, that's mother. A wizard is using his head, that's wise. A sorcerer goes to the source, which is his soul or his subconscious. You know what I'm saying? We got these things, these symbolizations around us to remind us. That's why if you heavy into, like me, fantasy books, magicians always got spells and potions they got full of bags to use.
Yeah.
Wizards use dark energies, and they wait for the moon to be. They use a combination of shit, because a wizard is wise. He's using his mind, right? A sorcerer doesn't need a wand. He doesn't have to do a hand gesture. He goes straight to the source. These things are there to remind us who we are. That's why certain stories and allegories and children's stories have to be told, because it's to remind you of who you are. You know what I'm saying? So once you understand that, your gut is where a lot of your power comes from. Your gut and your sex organs. That's a powerhouse, right? But that powerhouse is at the bottom of your fucking chakra system. So if you waste it down there, it did nothing. You know, you could be a beast in the bed, busting them down for 2 hours at a time, but you still busting 3 million. You still dragging 3 million souls out the astral just to go die again, because that's what's essentially happening. You dragging these, you know what I'm saying? It's 3 million dummies. I'm going to say dummies, but it's 3 million people that saw the light and ran to it and said, oh, shit, it's a blowjob. You know? Dying to come back to do their work, though. You know, people, some are dying to die. And once they get there, once you pass, you realize everything you didn't do. Oh, man, I was supposed to come back and do X, Y, Z. So now you want to come back and get it done. Every time you bust that nut, 3 million of them. One made it, though. One made it, though. We don't know if that one was the smartest or not, but it made it.
Right.
So the point I'm saying is chakra work is important because it keeps you focused even during the time of sex. Even during the time of sex. You know what I'm saying?
Sex
exactly, sex magic, tantric sex. You know what I'm saying? And so you just find yourself in that position to where you realize how important chakras really are, though. I just said it, symbolization. Why do you think they charge you more if you got your insurance charge you more if you got a red car versus a blue car? You know, if you examine the root chakra, which is very impulsive, animalistic, sexually driven, you're going to drive fast in that red car. You got a blue car, that's throat chakra. You tend to be more vocal. If you're operating out your throat chakra from a very understanding point of view, you're going to be more aware of what you say and do. So you're going to drive accordingly. You know what I'm saying? We got these caution signs up. Now, on the reverse, we got all these yellows and other colors that are being abused, like blue being considered disabled, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you key into that, you're going to assume your throat chakra is something that's handicapped in a wheelchair.
Like freedom of speech is being taken away, right? It's disabled.
Exactly. When in all actuality, John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word was God. God created with the throat chakra. Now, I got to say this too. Man has no real conception of the true deity. We don't. It's hard to imagine. Only thing we can imagine is a perfect man, perfect being. So when it says God created the world, it's talking about you. We can't imagine the all. We just can't. It's hard to encompass, right? But when you look at these books and it says, God said, let there be light. On the sixth day, God rested. I always say this just makes me laugh. On the sixth day, God rested. I always use the Bible as a good example. 6, if you do an etymological search, the word 6 is a Greek word. It's directly derived from sex. 6 means sex, regeneration. What you do after you bust a real good nut, man, you lay it on down, man. I'm tired. I'm gonna rest my game. On the 6th day, after God did all that humping and thrusting, on the 6th day, he rested. Man, I'm going to lay my game down. You know what I'm saying? So, it just, the chakras tie in so intimately with everything we do because we're bombarded with colors. Bombarded. You know what I'm saying? So, I would just say to anybody who hasn't done chakra work, first get a basic understanding. If you can pronounce each chakra, if you can talk them up, mulut hara, you know what I'm saying? If you can walk them up, that's a step. Even if you forget the name of your, man, what's the solar plexus chakra? Look it up. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to satisfy the left side of your brain and the ego. Left side is all logic. Ego is not a bad thing. It's just there to protect you, got your back, but going about it all wrong. And once you satisfy your ego gonna tell you what? Man, I already knew that. Man, I knew that. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. That's cool. We already got one partner that's gonna always give us all the encouragement in the world. But that's all it comes down to. It's just satisfying that part of yourself, and then from there you can activate the right side of your brain, which is the creative aspect, the feminine side, the intuitive side, the imaginative side. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I stress too, getting those books on anatomy. So you read on these parts of your body and you have a better way to envision it. You know, like now, whenever I read my anatomy books, that part of my body either tense up or tingle. I know exactly what I'm reading, especially when I'm reading about the brain. Man, if I read about the medulla oblongata, the back of my head tighten up like somebody turning a motherfucking screw. I'm reading about this or that, you know what I'm saying? But it just comes with, another thing. While we're still on the topic of dreams, I'm going to go back to dreams real quick. And the astral. A good way to go astral, you bombard yourself with out-of-body experiences and near-death experiences. Because hearing what somebody else did makes it easier for you to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you hear, because you'll realize, especially the near-death experiences, you'll realize that, yeah, I've seen something like that before. Or you'll say, oh, that's dope. I wouldn't mind experiencing that. I ain't saying the near-death part. I'm just saying in terms of being able to identify these things when you see it. Just like in a dream, the greens are a lot greener than what you see in real life. The reds are a lot redder. You know what I'm saying? So you find yourself identifying with these things so that because most of the time, when we go to sleep, you go astral every night. It's the astral tube. You shoot through it. But most people pass out. I found that once I started doing astral, I was always hovering right above my body. And I would be looking down at myself. I'm going to be honest with y'all. First thing I said was, damn, I'm hella ugly. That's the first thing I thought. Man, you hella ugly, man. But the thing was, you tend to see yourself sometimes in X-ray. You'll see your inner body, veins and shit. But what I learned to hack for myself. I found out just from dream recall, astral, writing in my dream book, my dream journal, I realized that when I'm woke and when I'm asleep, I do something. What I do is, you know how when you thinking real hard, some people tend to bite on the edge of a pencil. You know, you got a little something that you do. Well, I realized that while I was asleep, and while I'm woke too, I always bite down on the tip of my tongue, real lightly, not nothing that hurt, but I bite down on the tip of my tongue real light. And I realized that when I wake up, I'm usually biting on a piece of my tongue. So I said, wow, man, that's kind of weird. So I started doing that in meditation. Man, took me to the next level. So what you got to do is you got to hack yourself. And that's why I stress dream journals, because you might realize something you never thought about. Because by me looking in my dreams, because when I said I was hella ugly, it looked like I was dead. Man, my tongue was fake hanging out my mouth. And I was like, ugh, you hella ugly while you sleep. You know? But I started realizing that when I'm deep in thought and I'm woke, I'm usually biting the tip of my tongue or the side of my tongue. Not hard where it hurts. I just got it right there. So what I did, and another thing I want to bring up, I'm glad I'm on this track because I don't want to forget it. The key to going into a light trance, especially meditation, light trances, and when you're going to sleep, it's mild asphyxiation. I say mild because you don't want to choke yourself out. You don't want to kill yourself. I say mild asphyxiation because from doing my studies on near-death experiences, the less oxygen you get to your brain, the more you tend to hallucinate, right?
Wait a minute. Let me interlude on that, because that's funny you say that, because
I've heard that before myself.
Yeah. Like, but I do something. This is what I do. Like, when I go into when I put myself under a trance, man, I hold my breath, man, for like 13 seconds. I told you, I use the number 13 all the time on my inhale and I exhale. You know what I'm saying? I focus on the number 13, and I slow down my breathing, man. I mean, like, real slow. And, man, I'm telling you, that's how I get into that trance mode, by using that method of just focusing on the number 13 so much.
But you also hold your breath, right? And that's pranic breathing. When you do the pranic breathing, you inhale for a certain number, you hold on to it for a certain number, you exhale. But it's all about, I say mild asphyxiation, because you actually want to lightweight choke yourself out. But another thing you'll realize, too, is when you start meditating, you'll realize, man, I don't have to breathe. You don't.
No, you don't.
Your organs are addicted to oxygen. That's the best way I can put it. That's the only way I can put it. You're addicted to oxygen. You don't need to breathe, but your body's saying, if I don't get no oxygen, I'm shutting down on your ass. Right? So there's a certain level of highness that comes from oxygen. So the more you deny it, it's called hallucination. That's just a fancy word for being in that zone. So I got in the habit of holding my breath, biting on my tongue, moderating my breathing. I found out, man, I could drop into a trance in, less than 5 minutes if I'm focused. Less than 5 minutes. And once you go under, see, my major panic, once I realized it's hacked, I started panicking because I found out you can control your heartbeat too. And I panicked because, man, I don't want to have to remember to beat my heart. Keep doing that shit on your own. I had to get over that feeling. But the bottom line is, once you realize how to hack yourself, now these are common hacks we're talking about. Hold your breath. Count to a certain number. Now, for me, the biting on the tongue, maybe that's just for me. Maybe it'll work for you. I don't know. But once you hack yourself, it's going to involve holding your breath, inhalation, exhalation, things like that. Because prana means, I think, the life, the wind of God or something. Every time you inhale, exhale, go ahead. What'd you say?
No, I didn't say nothing. Go ahead, bro.
No, I'm just saying, every time you inhale, even though it's giving your body a natural high, whatever it is it's addicted to, you're actually drawing in energy. So C. Freeman-El had the techniques where you make your mouth into a pinhole and you draw in breath for 6 seconds, hold it for 6 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds, hold it for 6 seconds. But if you can get, it's going to be hard at first. It was for me too. But I'm just saying that it goes back to the mild asphyxiation, because you're used to breathing on a certain rhythm. Plus in the West, we're all shallow breathers. We all take light breaths and we exhale, light breath, exhale. Get in the habit of drawing that energy in you, holding on to it. I forget who it was. I think it's African mythology, where they envision that every time you inhale and hold that breath, even when you're eating food, they envision pygmies and gnomes and shit beating that shit up, getting the good, like they in a mine somewhere digging for precious gems. So the thing is, it's visualization coupled with holding your breath, focusing on these numbers. And the number got to mean something to you. The number 13, you got that number down, you know. For me, I experiment with all different counts. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd be curious about what this do, what that do. And my thing is, I'm quick to jump on something, a novel idea, and once I think I got it down, I stop doing it. You got to stick to what works. Now, sometimes you might reach a point where that don't work for you no more, so it's time to move on. You've mastered that little plateau, and it's time to move on. But in the beginning stages, you just want to pay a lot of attention to your body, your rhythms, and what works for you. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be surprised. When I started sleeping with intentions with my sleep mask and my earplugs, I started having like
wait. Stop. Hold on. You just said you use earplugs, bro.
Man, my wife went with it, but she accepts it now. Yeah, I put earplugs because my wife sleeps with the TV on. And I used to always dream. She watches all the throwback sitcoms from the 80s. So I used to have dreams where I was in Miami Vice. I was on Different Strokes. And I didn't like that. I don't want no tampering with my dreams. So I got a sleep mask and I have earplugs. Some nights I don't.
I thought I was the only one because I use earplugs, man. I use the same shit. And I thought, I use them because I use them at work. But I'm like, man, to suppress my senses, like, when I sleep, it helps me lucid like a motherfucker, man, on my astral shit. And what you just saying is corresponding to everything that I'm doing. Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? We on the same shit. It works.
It stops all distraction. Sometimes when you're trying to meditate, you'll hear some police siren. What I started doing before I got tough on the earplug, what I started doing was I stay right by some train tracks.
Okay.
If I was going into meditation and I actually heard train, I thought of Kundalini rising, man, because you just got to associate it with something so it don't distract you from what you're doing.
Damn, so another great fucking thing you're saying. Dang. Yeah.
Even if you don't have the earplugs, even though earplugs cheap as fuck, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna say steal. I appropriate them from my job. You know what I'm saying? I take buckets of them.
No.
But even if you don't got earplugs, you can use these sounds. You just give them a meaning, and so that way it doesn't distract you from your meditations. But the earplugs are excellent because it cuts back on all distractions. Your mind not gonna wander. You're not gonna wonder if somebody knocked at the door, if my wife called me. No, it's all you. So excellent tool. But what I noticed was I would put in my earplugs and my mask and I would meditate or go to sleep, and I was doing past life regression, and I saw myself, I was on Aztec and Mayan shit real tough about 2 years ago. And I noticed that I saw myself in a sarcophagus, and another thing I would do, if you got any smooth-shaped crystals or gems, I put them under my sleep mask and go to sleep with them on my eyes. And I would do that. Oh my goodness, I would do that, and it would be an explosion of colors. Cause I didn't like laying down and it'd be all black. So I would put my crystals over my eyes under my sleep mask. They're gonna fall out at some point, most likely. But when you first go in, it's there. Awesome shit happened. Well, what happened one night, I saw myself in a sarcophagus. It was definitely like Aztec or Mayan, but I had gems where each eye was, and, I was decked up. I had the little, jewels and shit, but I was a straight, like, skeleton, a mummy. You know what I'm saying? But what you'll find is you'll be in the astral, and most people that's trying astral, they want to immediately go somewhere. When you first go to sleep, the dream is where you falling. If it's right before you wake up, you're leaving the astral. You're going down that tube and you're getting kicked out. When you first go to sleep, if you pay attention to your dreams, usually you're getting sucked up. You're getting sucked into the astral tube. I would constantly have dreams where I'm walking through my neighborhood and a vortex opening the sky and they're sucking me up and I'm holding on the trees and shit like, man, I'm not going up there. What the fuck is that shit? Once I got over that, you're just going up. It's called the astral tube. Robert Bruce book, How to Astral Project in 90 Days, How to Master Astral Projection in 90 Days. I learned that from that book. It's just the astral tube. Now, somewhere between the age of 9 and 13, you got in the habit of blacking out once you go up that tube, and you usually come to in a dream or the astral or lucid, one of the three. Well, if you just be aware of that, I'm telling you, if you go to sleep, project, I usually pick an image, I go to my old neighborhood, walk around, talk to people. At some point, you're going to start getting sucked in the air. I've talked to people who said, aliens come in my dreams every night and try to suck me into a spaceship. No, motherfucker, you're getting sucked into the astral tube. You're going up. You dig? So I'm just saying, you want to establish these signposts for yourself, just like we live in a symbolization. You know, when you come to a four-way intersection,
that's
stop
wild.
trying to. But you dig what I'm saying, though, Gene?
100%, because I'm over here sitting here, and I'm taking in everything you're saying, and as you're saying, as we go back and forth through this tube, something that I've done often is, see, I don't keep a dream journal anymore. But when I did keep a dream journal, I had a lot of consistencies. Like you said, every single dream I had, no matter what, I was at my grandparents' house, I was in my old neighborhood, and I always see water, no matter what. Now, something I've started to notice is I kind of always remember myself flying. But see, not like I'm flying like Superman. It's like I'm landing almost, or sometimes I'll be in a plane, and I'll have that feeling of falling, so I'll immediately, like I'm traveling. So sometimes I'll fall, and then I'm in a plane. Or sometimes I'll fall, and then I'm in a train. It's always some kind of feeling of traveling, but I'm always looking at it in an aerial view. So that makes a lot of sense. That's a huge connection, because there's been 2 times since I've been married, and it had to have been my wife is the reason why this happened, because we were laying down, and I had my face pressed up against her back, and I was almost asleep, and I woke up, and I remember waking up and closed my eyes, and I could see what looked like a peppermint, but it was swirling. And I was like, man, that's really odd. I wonder how that happened. It's only happened twice, and both times I was pressed up right against her back with my face. But I've seen that spiral. It just happens. It's like a waves of energy, but it's consistent and it's circular, and it almost looks like it looks like a peppermint. And but there's no color. It just has that wheel look. And that's really funny that you say that, because I've had that feeling a few times, and I never really connected anything with it. I just will always say, oh, well, from that view, I see water. But I always feel like a feather. I don't feel like I'm falling fast, but I always know that I'm coming down, and then I'm coming down into the dream. That's pretty. I got goosebumps from that one. That was pretty good.
You just make the connection, and for me, it was facing the fear, because for me it was always these vortexes opening up in the middle of the sky and sucking me up. And so now what I'm actively working on is I want to be conscious going through the tube, because now I let myself get sucked up. I blank out for a minute, and I'm in the astral or the dream. Robert Bruce, if you go on YouTube, he has detailed videos discussing the astral tube. He's conscious going up the tube, and that's what I want at this point. But I'm saying, yes, we all see, going back, when you first go to sleep, that sweet spot is called hypnagogic state. You're going to sleep. When you waking up, it's called hypnopompic. So some people, when they experience sleep paralysis, they wake up and they can't move their body. Actually, that's a sweet spot to be in. Don't panic. Explore.
Yeah.
Explore. because you're conscious, but your body's still asleep. So you find yourself, like you said, whether you're floating down or getting sucked up, it's time to explore. You know what I'm saying? Not ignore, and definitely not to run from a fight. You know what I'm saying? And so you just get in the habit. For me, it was dream journal. I'm going to constantly say that because for me, it was writing it down, and then once a month, I go back over my dreams, and I notice colors. I notice scenes and situations. I'll tell you a real powerful dream real quick. I don't want to get on it too tough. A friend of mine, her mom died. She was a hood mama. You know, everybody knew Miss Helen. And what I do, you read a lot of books that say when somebody passed, you're supposed to wait a year before you start talking to them and asking for shit. No, I don't. I usually go that very first night, and I go to try to holler at them. Well, my friend, her mom died, and she was just distraught, not even a good word. She was broke up about her mom. Well, her mom would be in a bunch of my dreams. And so I would talk to her, and I always say, anything you want me to do for you? You know, you want me to holler at somebody? You want me to say something to somebody? Well, her mom, she was hanging around. I would always see her going into her apartment. Right above it would be that little vortex. And I remember going in. It was around Christmas time, and I heard her daughter had a picture on Facebook of her Christmas tree, and at the top of the tree was a star. The star had her mom's face on it. So I remember going in. Her mom was like, "I'm out of here. I'm gone." And I was telling her mom, "Don't go yet, man. Your daughter broke up. Holler at her." And that's another thing. These energies, these spirits, they can't break through the sadness. Sadness is a vibration. It's a low vibration. When most people pass, they be on a higher vibration. They're not bound down by the flesh. They're on a higher vibration. If you're too sad, they can't even holler at you. So she was telling me, I'm done trying to talk to her. I'm out of here. I'm gone. I was just telling her, no, man, don't leave, man. She broke up. She can't move without you. Talk to her. But what she did was she showed me an image of her daughter's Christmas tree with her face on it, on the star at the top of the tree. I woke up and immediately knew what it was. Now, you feel weird telling people about your dreams, especially if it was a channel. Well, I inboxed her daughter and said, listen, I said, I know it's going to sound weird. I talked to your mom in a dream. She said she can't talk to you through your sadness. You got to stop being sad. And she's telling you that she's been there with you. She's that star on the top of your Christmas tree. Well, first thing she did was, what the hell are you talking about? You know, nobody want to hear that. My mama came to me, what? What you talking about? So I let it go. I said, I know that was a weird moment. I did my part. I relayed the message. I'm out of it.
Right.
2 nights later, she told me, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I stopped being sad. I told her, man, remember the good times, man. Get your mama whatever she like to drink or whatever. If it's great Kool-Aid, get it, drink it, have a good time, smile, dance. Stop being sad, man. Your mom right there in your house with you. She told me 2 nights later, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I talked to my mom in a dream, and she told me this, she told me that, and woo-doo-woo. And then she said in the end, she went into her old apartment and she left. I said, I told you. Your mama said she wasn't going to hang around because her mama died in November. By Christmas time, her daughter was still broke up. She was like, I'm out of here. I'm not lingering no more. I'm gone. But the point I'm making is, it's that level of being lucid in the dream and then being able to communicate it, if that's what your passion is. If you want to help somebody or help yourself, you got to have a level of being lucid. Now, if you're not lucid in a dream, I'm going to get back to it. That's where dream journal come in. Sometimes I've had dreams I've written down and didn't understand it for 2-3 years now. I just stay going back to it, especially to stand out, you know. But getting back to the chakras, Gene, I want to say that peppermint you saw spinning, that chakras are spinning wheels. Chakras are spinning wheels. You know what I'm saying? Now, it chose to be a peppermint color. White corresponds to violet. I say that because violet, even though it's a purple color, it's a light purple color. And when violet spins, it looks like a pearl color. When you see the color, it's a pearlish white. So white and red is 1 through 7. Chakra wheel spinning, especially if you say it was spinning, circular. You know what I'm saying? Females tap in way easier than dudes. That's why women's intuition is real. Leaning up against your wife's back, you guys have a connection. You know, most likely your astral cord's connected. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I say this: I never work nothing on my wife. I never try to change her. I don't work nothing on her. I do set spiritual protections around her. I will do that, but I don't. In our connections in the dream, I don't try to influence her in no shape, form, or fashion. That's unconditional love in my book. You be you. Even if I can't stand you at this moment, I'm going to let you be you. You know, because when you practice these things, you realize how easy it is to influence people, to be honest.
Right.
Psychomancy lets you know. Psychomancy lets you know you can influence, especially like in Star Wars. I always use sci-fi as a good example. In Star Wars, Sith Lords never use Jedi mind tricks. The reason being, Sith Lords say Jedi mind tricks only work on the weak-minded. So a true Sith Lord is somebody that's confident in their power, and I'm not going to tamper with the weak-minded because I'm only dealing with strong shit. But Jedi, who's supposed to be the good people, they do Jedi mind tricks on the weak-minded constantly. So it's nothing to do a Jedi mind trick on somebody you love, which is why I'm against love spells and all that shit, because it might come a point where that shit wear off and that person might look up and say, ugh, the fuck I'm with this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'd rather it be something genuine, even if it's a genuine love-hate relationship. I'd rather let it be genuine than to tamper with it. But all these things, especially the colors, that's why we talk in chakras. That's why when you keep track of your dreams, you keep track of the colors, because certain colors going to pop up consistently. And then it might move on. Like for me, it was always blue with black. Me personally, I associate blue-black with the throat chakra and Da in Kabbalah, because your throat chakra is where Da is related on your body. The black is the Da, the blue is your throat chakra, Da is knowledge or gnosis, you know, so I did that. I started having other dreams where I was having a pinkish red color. Lately it's been different shades of blue, from a bright sky blue to purplish blue. You keep track of the colors. Then when you get these colors and you don't know what they mean, chakra work time. Let me work on my throat chakra. Let me stare at the color blue for about 10 minutes a day every chance I get. You know, and you work on those colors and essentially working on your chakras is just making sure that none of your pipes are clogged. Because for your kundalini to rise effectively, it has to go up from the sacral all the way to the crown. If you got a blockage in your solar plexus, if it do rise, it's going to be tampered information. It ain't going to be good info. You know what I'm saying? So chakra work is important, even if you just pay attention to the colors. You know, even if you don't know that Vishuddha is the throat chakra and Anja is the crown chakra and Sahasrara is the crown, and you know, even if you don't know these fancy ass names, if you're just aware that what purple means and what green means to you, you read these books to understand what they mean to you. So, you know, you get that understanding down. That's chakra work. You know what I'm saying? A year back, me and Shannon was aligning up the chakras with the Necronomicon, right? That's chakra work. So that when you're working with Nirlahotep, you understand exactly what you got going on, exactly what colors you're working with. And you might see the color red and think you're working with Nirlahotep, but nah. That ain't Nirla. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be an aspect of Nirla giving you some kind of gnosis in your root chakra. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Another good book, I don't have it right now on me, is The Magician's Table of Correspondences. Now that book I paid for. It was I forget how much it is. I posted it on our original post. I'll go back, take a picture again, and repost it. That book ties everything in. It'll tell you what planet, what mineral, what deities. It'll go all in, and at the end it'll say all this is connected to your left big toe.
Yeah, you definitely got to tag me in this one, bro. I missed that one. I never heard of that book.
I take a picture and post it. Magician's Book of Tables. It's actually a complicated document, but if you have a very specific question, you go in and you find it. It ties in everything from Chinese, Japanese. You know what I'm saying? So whatever level you on, where you at, you can tie it back into something you understand. And so it's called The Complete Magician's Table of Correspondences. It's a thick book. I want to say I paid about 40 or 50 bucks for it. But it's one of those invaluable tools, and I tied into chakras because every element is connected to a color. Every mineral connected to a color. Every body part connected to a color. Every organ in your body connected to a color. You know what I'm saying? And you'll find that's why we in this symbolization with colors. That's why they don't want you going astral. See, the thing about it is, it would be impossible to rule a nation of God. Impossible. So they got to shut you down at certain levels. Definitely going to stop you around the solar plexus. Because even if you operating just from your heart, you own God's status. So everything is usually going to be red, like the fast food colors. Red, yellow, orange.
Red,
down there, keep you in your gut. And then, on Friday night, what you do? You paint the town red. Why it's not paint the town blue? Paint the town purple. You paint it red. You stay down there where you at. So chakras is a good way of reminding yourself of where you at, what you work on, and balancing out your energy. Because deities ain't nothing but energies. Those energies are present in your body. You know what I'm saying? All of the zodiac. We were talking about the Nordic god and how that frost giant Ymir, they made the universe out of his skull. That means that all these things present in the zodiac, in the sky, all these planets, they all in your head. But if you ain't going no farther than the moon, in Kabbalah, the moon is your sex organ. It's a feminine symbol, so the moon is just a pussy. If you ain't going no higher than the moon, your mind is going to be trapped on the sexual, instinctual level. You know what I'm saying? Every broad they walk past, you're going to look and say, man, I bust them down. You know what I'm saying? So what I do to remind myself, especially on sexual shit, is nowadays you don't know if that's a man or a woman. So that helps me to contain my lust. You know what I'm saying? It helped me to contain my lust. You in the traffic staring, that might be a dude. And even though you can't tell with your physical eyes, your spirit know that's a dude. And if you telling your spirit, I'll bust it down, your spirit like, oh, we on some homo shit. Okay, it's all good. Yeah, we like dudes now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, just to be aware of yourself and contain the energies. We were just talking about how you can raise your motherfucking semen up your spine to your dome, and it come back down. When your semen go to your head, it mingles with, spinal fluids, melanin, all that. That's where you get the good gnosis from. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of it is just, I would always stress, I got a book, Gray's Anatomy. It's about 1,000 pages, very few pictures, but you read it and it's going to break down every aspect of your body. Nerve endings, organs, whatever makes up those organs and the different factors of that organ. Because, again, like we said, you might be in a dream talking to somebody, might be a pair of twins, might be your lungs. Might be your lungs talking to you. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of it, chakras, that's why everything is a chakra story, because everything is about you and your body and your mind and the universe. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to do chakra work. I got into a ill-ass argument on Facebook. This sister was saying, you don't got to do no chakra work, you know what I'm saying, to go astral, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, well, hey, maybe that works for you, but for me, when I first started going astral, man, my body was shaking like a 57 Chevy with a bad carburetor. The vibrations were so tough, my teeth was chattering. But I realized I got to work on my solar plexus. You know what I'm saying? So she was telling me, she was going back and forth, you sound dumb, woodoo, woodoo, woodoo. But I had to keep reminding her, you obviously is one of those rare motherfuckers. You a chakra wizardess. You don't got to worry about that shit, but other people do. Other people do. And that's the thing. You know, you get a lot of bad info on these social medias because we in the age of Aquarius, age of information. It's out there. If you're willing to be led, there's a bunch of pastors out there, a bunch of them. But the thing is, you get what works for you and you keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? And once you find out what works for you and how to do your thing, the rest don't matter. Like I said, I can bite on my tongue and I can get where I'm trying to go. That might not work for you. Matter of fact, that might sound so weird that you might be like, man, this dude might be on some super weird shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna have to wrap this up. My wife just gave me the evil eye about 12 times now. She ready for this to end.
Man, science though, dog.
Hey, yeah, she don't give a fuck. You know, my wife told me she don't want to hear about no more chakras. She's so tired of hearing about chakras, and I can dig it because that ain't where she at. You know what I'm saying? A lot of what she does is natural, woman's intuition. She wake up every morning with 3 or 4 dreams that she remembers. Most she don't even trip off even decode. None she trip off a decode. But it's just so natural for her that she look at me weird. What you mean you working on dreams? Everybody dreams, you know. But again, that's you, my nigga. It ain't that easy for me. I have to do detailed notes. And before we wrap it up, that's why I say the notes I keep, it ain't for the masters. It's not for the dream mages. It's not for the dream witches. If somebody already mastered this shit, and I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to the people that I remember being like me, who would say, I barely remember dreams, or I can't do this, or like we were saying, Gene, I can imagine somebody who's been dedicated 3 years and still hasn't went astral. That's almost a horror story. That's a waking nightmare. You mean to tell me you try every night and you haven't got no results? That's why I try to come with simple shit, the supplements. I want to say this before I get off. Zodiac Cell Salt. You can Google it. George Carey has a book called Zodiac Cell Salt. He tells you exactly which cell salt you need. You start off with the cell salt in the month you were born. The thing about it is you went through 9 months in your mother's womb. You're missing 3 months. So you start off with the month you were born in, you walk it up, and then you add those 3 missing months. You do that esoterically, too. Those are, I know we didn't get a chance to talk about Freemasonry, but when you're born in those 9 months, you're missing 3 spokes to a complete wheel. Those 3 spokes you missed in the 3 months you didn't touch in the womb, those are your 3 degrees, or you can self-initiate those 3 months esoterically. Now, on a physical level, you get those zodiac cell salts, you add them to your body. They're salts, so they're very salty. So what you do is you figure out what works best for you. I found when I overdose on the cell salt, man, I be shitting like a Russian racehorse. It runs through me and it flushes my bowels. So I got to the point where I take just enough that don't interfere with my bowels like that, and you work through the months. But those 3 missing months, I don't care if you was a preemie, say you was born in 7 months. I just mean that you're missing 5 of the months, 5 spokes to your wheel. Now you add those by supplements and then esoteric work. Now, for some people, they get it by joining groups like Masons, Rosicrucians, Apollo. If that's what your spirit tell you, you do that. I learned from Freemasonry, though, about self-initiation. I self-initiate. You know what I'm saying? I doubt if maybe in the future I might join something, but right now I self-initiate because all this information is free and you use your motherfucking mental and you can tap in on your own and you self-initiate because who initiated the first motherfucker? He initiated himself. So with these supplements and zodiac cell salts, you add what your body is missing. Now, even on the vitamin level, you'll find that you're missing certain things in your body. Dr. Layla Africa got some good videos on the vitamins you're missing. Vitamin B. Even Dr. Eileen Bay, he got some real good ones on vitamin B, lysine, niacin. Niacin is a real good dream and astral travel vitamin. Most people, me coming up, you took niacin to beat a drug test. But the thing about it is, you take niacin in moderated doses, or even if you overdose, not overdose, but you take extremely high doses, you can balance your body out and go beyond. Vitamin D is directly connected to the sun. During the winter months, everybody experiences a little bit of sadness during the winter because you're not seeing that physical sun. If you take vitamin D, especially during the winter months, it's vitamin D, and it comes with an added supplement called K2, D3 K2. You can take extremely high doses of that and raise up your own inner light, raise up your internal sun, your Shambhala, your black dot, your point within the circle, right? You raise up your own inner light, your true light, because the sun is a hologram. You raise up your inner light. Man, you won't experience those winter month sadness, because sad just means seasonal affected disorder. The sun ain't shining, it's cloudy, gloomy. Man, I'm sad. You raise up your light with vitamin D/K2. These are supplements, like I said, Aline Bay, Layla Africa, those come to mind readily. You can Google them and vitamins and supplements. George Carey's books, God, Man, Salvation, Zodiac Cell Salts, and the George Carey books I just mentioned, I'll post them tonight. Those books, man, $3 used.
Can't beat it.
All of them, less than 150 pages. So much information, though, that I guarantee you it won't be a book that'll turn into a reference book. You'll go back to it again and again, you know. And so what we're talking about, what you got to remember is we're all in the habit of saying the Egyptian mystery system. That shit wasn't a mystery to the Egyptians. It was a mystery to the motherfuckers who didn't know. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no new game. You know, our ancestors just ate better food, and they naturally added these supplements and these salts to their body naturally. You know what I'm saying? But it's not new game. It's just on us to take this old game and propel it into the future. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only reason why I take supplements. Galantamine is a mental. It's good for mental recall. It helps your memory. But I take galantamine, so I take it at night. You're supposed to take it when you wake up in the morning so you can remember shit throughout the day. I'm not concerned with my waking life. I'm concerned with my dreams. So I take galantamine, 5-HTP, another one called Yohimbine, YOHOMBI. What's that?
Yep. Yohimbine?
Yohimbine.
I take that with a cocktail. I take that with galantamine. Yohimbine helps you be lucid. Galantamine helps you remember. So when you go to sleep, you pop that cocktail. It helps you do what you should be doing naturally. And the goal is to eventually get off all supplements and shit anyway. And so you put these shits in your body. You put them in your body. I take vitamin B, lysine. I take all these on the daily. I even take cranberry peels. Once you start doing your research, you'll realize what you're missing. If you're a little depressed, you're a little down, lacking energy, you're hard to focus, this and that, lack of appetite. Because all these things is your body telling you what you need. You find yourself eating motherfucking Funyuns constantly every day. You might just need a little more salt in your body, but not that salt that comes from a potato chip stuff. Gene, you gave me a good tip. I drink a lot of water, but now I make it a point to drink more water before I go to bed because it does help. Because you ever heard of a runner's high?
Mm-hmm.
Runners get that high because when you run, it releases a chemical in your body. But also, runners drink a lot of water while they're running. You get a water high, too. That high is real close to the hallucination we talked about when you hold your breath and shit like that. So I pound a bunch of water before I go to bed. And then at the very least, if that water wakes you up in the middle of the night, you get up and you pop your supplements. Take some melatonin, take some serotonin, take some motherfucking Yohimbine, take some, you know what I'm saying, some galantamine, and go back to sleep. Because you're just replacing what you don't naturally have. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm sorry, my brothers. I got to wrap this up, or I might get stabbed in my sleep tonight.
All right, Michael. Can you drop an email real quick?
Yeah, I want to say this. My email. I got a lot of books. The second time I've been on natural order things, I still don't have. I need the book list I can read off of. But if anybody want any more information on vitamins, supplements, books, you can email me. My email is michaelkbell@yahoo.com, michaelkbell@yahoo. If you want to, Facebook me, Michael Bell. I don't do well with inboxes and DMs. A lot of creeps be, even as a dude, you see the females saying dudes be hitting on them, but dudes hit on dudes in the inboxes too. I done had dudes shoot their little shot. Maybe this dude be on the down low like me. So I tend to ignore inboxes, especially if it says make this go viral. I'm gonna delete your whole thread. I'm not even gonna delete that shit. But
I'll entertain that shit.
Yeah, I'm just leery about inboxing. But if you hit me on Facebook, if you inbox me, I'm gonna look at it. Ask me a solid question. Michael Bell on Facebook. On Instagram, it's I am_who_I think_I am. If I am who I think I am, I just space it out with the underscores. I'm available. And like I said, I'm a student helping other students. Got a good question? If I can answer it, I will. If not, I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. But I want help with my homework too. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I reach out to Brother Gene and Shannon. I reach out to y'all too. And if I hear some solid advice, I take it. You know what I'm saying? But anybody want to reach out, book list, movie list. I got movie lists for dreams and astral movie, because I noticed that for myself, if I watch a movie right before I go to sleep, I'm going to dream about it. It's going to place me in it. Or if I'm binge watching on YouTube, I'm in it. I'm going to dream about it. So I have a list of movies that are about astral travel and lucid dreams and shit like that. I got all anything I'm working on, especially with the dream. I actually put together like my own herb pack, and it's simple shit. I give it out. You just get your own. You do your research and you put it together and give it a try. We talked about the mobile altars. I'm actually working on a book on it, and I'm giving myself a 90-day deadline to put that out, and I'll put that information out there. But if anybody want to reach out, michaelkbell@yahoo.com. You ask a question, I'll give you an answer, even if it's I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to shit on nobody. I'm damn sure not panicked or Bobby or nobody like that. I'm not getting flooded with questions and esoteric readings, none of that. But I do my best. I always share my notes. I do this on Facebook. If you see me post something good, I'm just sharing my notes. That's it and that's all. And I'm open to feedback, I do want to say this, too, before we get off. We talked about putting crystals under your pillow. Man, you got to try this. It's something about putting a cup of water under your bed. I don't know where it came from, who started it. I want to say I heard Panic speak on it, but I did it and got immediate results.
Open cup or a bottle of water?
I really don't think it matters. I always get an open cup, but I really don't think it matters. If you know it's there,
I got bottles of water.
Yeah, if you got it, it's doing the trick. I don't know how high up your bed is. I ended up putting a solo cup of water under my bed on my side, and I put the crystals under my pillows. I do the same thing, Gene. Crystals. What I do, too, is I put books under my pillow, too. I put books under my pillow because I'm not done with it, but I'm trying to read books in the astral because there's too many books to read while you woke. But I put them under my pillow, and I tell myself that I know what's in that book now. So it's just little tricks and hacks. You put it under your pillow. Anything that's going to impact your mind. It might be a feather. The story of, I forget the story, but it was the princess. Was it Sleeping Beauty? Whoever. She put a pea under her mattress and she couldn't sleep. She ended up stacking 17 mattresses and she still felt that pea under her mattress. It's the same thing when you put a cup of water under your bed, or you could also spray peppermint. It's amazing you said the peppermint wheels. Peppermint is a dream scent. You can spray peppermint on your pillow before you go to sleep, and just inhaling peppermint for some reason shoots you into the astral, shoots you into a deeper dream state. So I would just say do your research. Google is nothing more than a pale imitation of the collective consciousness. A pale imitation, but it's there. So you access it, you go to Google and you get your answers. And the best thing to do with Google is to know how to research. You never just fall in love with the first thing you tap on. Scroll down a little bit. Make sure you clear your browser memory every now and then, because Google does tailor your responses to your previous request. So every now and then you want to wipe it out so you can get a fresh little set of answers to your question. But all of that is there, and most people just don't realize it. And like I said, I was there. I remember bugging people. I remember Elia that was on the show with Panic. I blew him up so much at one point, he asked me, man, please stop emailing me, man. I didn't take it personal. I just moved on. And now we at a better place in terms of corresponding. But at the time, I had a flood of questions. Panic wasn't answering them. Man, his boy gave out his email. Man, check this out. I had a dream about voodoo. But you start to realize that these people can't help you with your dreams. Only you can help yourself. Yep. So it makes no real sense to ask somebody to decode your dream or to ask somebody to pay somebody to raise your kundalini. That whenever I hear somebody saying they're raising my kundalini, I imagine somebody strapping somebody into an electric chair and shocking them to death. Man, nobody gonna put their finger on that trigger for me. So I just remember being in those positions, having those questions, and so desperate for answer that I'm willing to try anything. And it's just about having more confidence in yourself and knowing that to bag it up real quick. I know I keep saying it. The word education is a Greek word. It stems from the root word edukari. You can Google it. Greek etymology of the word education. Edukari means to draw out. A good teacher doesn't teach you shit. He just draws it out of you. You the teacher. You got to remember and reteach yourself, remind yourself. That's why the ego always say, man, I already knew that, because you did. Yeah. So the thing is, a good teacher or another student helping with your homework, he only helps you to realize what's already inside of you. So the thing about education is you want to always remember that you're educating yourself. And a lot of people who say they're not readers, man, go on YouTube. Almost every book is somebody took the time out to read that book, audio books. I'm not saying opinion. I'm saying you want to read a certain book, see if it's in an audio form. Get it on Kindle. Listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And a form of listening is a form of you educating yourself. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this, I would just say, I keep good notes. I keep all my notes. Might take me a minute to find it, but I keep all of my notes, and I'm always willing to share. I appreciate you brothers for having me on. We definitely got to sit down one day and have a Necronomicon. I would love to sit down, too, and talk about these characters like comic book characters and how we can tap into those. Because I tap in real easy that way, too, through characters. I tap in real easy. And most of us don't realize it don't got to be a comic book. You could have grew up reading detective novels. That might be what you resonate with. You can tap in that way, and we all grew up on fairy tales. Fairy tales is just a step below mythology. On the surface, it's a moral story, but underneath that moral story is something describing your body, your mind, or the universe. So it's just little hacks, and patience is power. I was taught that as a young kid by one of my uncles. He would always tell you, patience is power. If you were ever being impatient, he would make you slow down and repeat it. But I realize it now. Just be patient. Like in the movie Colors, when that officer said to Sean Penn, man, you can run down the hill, fuck one bull, or you can walk down and fuck them all. Patience is power. Just be patient. Don't be hard on yourself, and have faith in the fact that you do know. You just got to remember. That's the only thing I can say. But if you guys have me back again, at the very least, when I know you guys on, I'll damn sure call in and tap in. But this is an exciting thing, man. Like Eugene said, it's not so much that we're on the level of master teachers. I don't got no doctorate. I haven't went to Astro College. So a lot of this is we working. Those who are working appreciate it and can get what they need out of it. And those who haven't started working, hopefully this was like a little stepping stool to get them to start working. Even if they didn't log in, if they double back and listen later, you'll hear something that you say, oh, I can do that. I can try that. Oh, I did do that. I didn't know that's what that was. because that's all you need to gain a little bit of confidence. You know what I'm saying? Because a little bit of confidence takes you a long way. That's all a con man is a confidence man. You know, so in a lot of ways, faking it till you make it is just conning yourself. You know, you con yourself into to realizing what you can do and what you're already doing is what you're capable of doing. But again, man, I appreciate you, brothers, and I gotta go in here and make googly eyes at my wife so she stop giving me that.
No problem.
Yeah, but thank you, brother. I sincerely appreciate y'all, man, and we're gonna keep doing what we're doing on this social media too.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. It ain't going nowhere.
Without a doubt.
All right, Michael, take it easy.
All right, peace, my brother.
Peace, bro. I get at you, man.
Well, Shannon, I think that very much wraps it up for us. A hell of a show.
Hell, fuck yeah, it was. What you mean, man? That shit was, man. I feel like I told you when we started the show, man. Them upgrades, man. Just hearing new information from a different angle, from a different source, man. That shit is a motherfucker, man.
Yeah, it's pretty. It was pretty good stuff there. Michael definitely drops that good information.
Yeah.
Well, I think our next show, I think we're gonna jump into some altar talk and kind of go from there. So I'll get with you on the other end of the show, and we'll kind of go from there here another week or so. You want to drop your email?
Yes. Shannon.jeffries0125@gmail.com. You can hit me up. Any questions, any suggestions, any links, video suggestions, YouTube links, any lectures I might have missed. I'm always available on Facebook under my name, Shannon Jefferies, real name, no gimmick. I'm very easily accessible. So you can drop me an email, friend request, inbox. It don't matter. I'm all over the place with it, man. But I appreciate any questions come my way. I do my best to answer them or point you in the right direction and being able to give you the source where we can find that information. So, especially on dreams, man. I think tonight was a hell of a show on dreams, and I hope everybody was taking notes on applying different methodologies and approaching the dreams and being able to get the results that you need and desire. So, man, just good shit.
Most definitely. You know, I plan to get Michael back on the show here probably in the next couple of weeks or so. He's a really nice addition to have, and the wealth of information he's got is pretty good stuff, man. Well, you guys can get a hold of me at naturalorderof@gmail.com. You can get a hold of me on Facebook at Natural Order of, or it's I think the Facebook name Smook Supreme Being. Subject to change here. Who knows? Whatever goofy name I'll come up with next. But at any rate, man, we put in 3 hours plus tonight. I feel pretty good about that, and it was pretty good information there. Michael definitely gave me some stuff to think about. We can go on, man, with dreams. Dreams can just go on and go on and go on and on and on. With there's so many other avenues we could have gone with, but for now, I think that's gonna wrap it up for dreams. Like so, next time we'll probably jump into some altar talk. I really want to talk about his walking altars, but we just ran out of time, which it happens.
Right.
We'll get him back on the show for that. But anyway, Shannon, it's been awesome as always. We'll get with you soon. And I would like to thank everybody who came in. We didn't have anyone here tonight who wanted to ask any questions or anything, so hopefully anybody who did chime in, I hope they enjoyed the information they got. Shannon, I'll get with you on the other end of the show, brother.
All right, man. Y'all be looking forward to that, man.
All right, man. You take it easy.
All right. One.
This is the natural order of everything. Until next time.
Peace.
The world around us is smart. We think your education should be smart, too. With the FlexPath learning format from Capella University, you can set your own deadlines and leverage your experience to move forward at your pace. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.